Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Good morning and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my wildly handsome, super smart, and ridiculously charming co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up?
Hi.
Hello, okay. What's
Coop,
up, boys?
Ridiculously charming, as you could see.
I got some beef to pick with you, Coop.
Ooh.
Yesterday in our fantasy football playoff draft that we did here on Better Sports Network, I had the fourth pick, and Coop was sitting there at pick number 5 out of 7 teams drafting back and forth. I don't know if you know how important stacks are in these playoff pools, but you want to pick the teams you think are going to make to the Super Bowl, and you want to stack. I grabbed Jalen Hurts with my first pick.
Stack.
And one pick before me, I'm sitting there. Coop had taken Stephon Diggs, and A.J. Brown is still sitting there on the board, ready for me to stack with Jalen Hurts in this fantasy playoff league. And Coop snagged him from me.
You're supposed to stack. You like they say you have to pick a team and like go all in. So what did I do? I stole 2 wide receivers from quarterbacks that had already been drafted just to send them reeling. And Simon went on tilt so hard that what did he do? Instead of doing the normal thing that normal person would do, which is draft the other wide receiver from that team, he decides to go complete Mr. Krabs swirl and draft Gabriel Davis, which not only messed up his team because he didn't stack Jalen Hurts with Devonta Smith, but now the Josh Allen owner cannot stack his team either. So just
Taking them down with you. Like
dude, we went through 2.5 rounds before anyone in the entire draft got 2 players in the same team because everyone was doing that. Corey Parson did it at the end of the first round where Eric took Brock Purdy and then Parson immediately took George Kittle as a first round pick in a fantasy draft. It was just hot. It was vicious. You guys got to check out. That'll be live, right, Tom? I mean, we're going to play it.
Yeah, we're giving you a little sneak peek of how that draft went down. But guys, if you want to check out the entire fantasy playoff draft, you're going to be able to see that here on BSN. I believe it's coming out today, and it'll be available on demand as well. So Coop and I were in there with some more hosts from over here, but that fantasy playoff action kicking off early because it's going to start this weekend. John Luke, you doing all right this morning?
doing pretty good. How you doing?
Doing all right. I like your lights behind you.
Thanks. The red and blue.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Those are pretty good colors. We got some people in the chat ready for the show this morning. Albert in here saying, good morning, everyone. What's up, Albert? Glad to have you in here. And we got Tommy saying, it is Wednesday, and man, this is hard. We get no football till the weekend wild card. But oh, what a weekend of wall-to-wall fun. So let's start the show and entertain everyone. And Tommy in here letting everyone know, Aaron, at noon today is when that playoff draft is coming out. So at noon today here on BSN, make sure you're checking that out.
Why does Tommy always knows everything, doesn't he? That Tommy.
He's got his finger in everything, in every pie.
Everything.
He's poking his finger in every pie.
Does Tommy know that?
His finger tastes good.
So Tommy, the tomato eating thing has now taken on a new level, a level that I am not in favor of, that I don't want. But apparently now we're going to use our new sponsor, Lucra, to do a little bit of a bet on how long this takes. That's the case, boys, for Friday?
That's what we got. Yeah, we'll get that rolling. I'm trying to use the next couple of days to measure like the speed at which your mouth moves, maybe ask some questions
I
about
don't like
things you've done.
This is already stupid enough, dude. Now it's a race. Now I'll tell you guys right now that I'm not gonna sit here and eat and just like mouth this thing as fast as I can as if it's like some sort of pie eating contest.
I have no expectations about how fast you'll eat it, but I'm going to bet on it.
Yeah, you have to. And Tommy, will you come on with us and hang out for a little bit on Friday? Can you manage that?
We'll get him up here, whether he wants to or not. We'll get him up here for the tomato, but I'm sure he'll want to be here for you eating that tomato. And for those of you joining us who are unaware, Coop lost the bet to Tommy. It was who would win more games during the regular season, the Raiders or the Broncos. Wah, wah. It was the Raiders. So Coop's going to be eating a tomato. Guys, it is that time of morning. I hope everyone in the chat brought some breakfast to munch down on because we brought everything else, the topics, the stories, the things to talk about. You just got to sit back, eat your breakfast, and hang out with us. But if you've got some topics you think maybe we forgot at home, didn't bring for breakfast, throw them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to hit those as well. Because I wanted to start with what Albert here is alluding to. And he asks, what team do you want to see DeAndre Hopkins traded to? We had a report come out yesterday from Jordan Schultz on Twitter saying that the Arizona Cardinals plan to try and trade all-pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. Now, he's 31 years old and has 2 years and $34.36 million left on his contract, likely to seek a new deal. So they're looking for a new GM there in Arizona, and they're likely to express that to those GM candidates that DeAndre Hopkins, they want to trade him.
Yeah, this was pretty simple. And it actually goes hand in hand with something else that I wanted to bring to breakfast today. So I'm glad you brought this up. And I think JL is also on board since he brought his red and blue Patriots lights out today. So I think what's going to happen here is pretty obvious. I saw another tweet yesterday where the Patriots said that they've been doing their due diligence on a one Mr. Cliff Kingsbury, right? And if DeAndre Hopkins wants out of town all of a sudden now that Cliff Kingsbury is out of town.
Don't you connect those dots?
What if the New England Patriots brought in Cliff Kingsbury to run the offense in New England, and as part of that, they brought along Mr. DeAndre Hopkins to play the split end role currently occupied by Devontae Parker. Now, Devontae Parker,
him and Bill Belichick love each other.
They're like best friends.
They love.
I talked about it yesterday. I talked about Cliff Kingsbury and Belichick hanging out, and then the show before that, I was like, why does Belichick know all these guys? Like, they're like best friends, right? So come on, baby.
That would be wild. That would be such a wild turn of events. But yeah, I mean, I was just mentioning I was rewatching Hard Knocks, the in-season Hard Knocks, and they had a whole part of it dedicated to Bill Belichick's love for DeAndre Hopkins, and it's reciprocated.
Because N'Keal Harry was supposed to be our DeAndre Hopkins.
Wah, wah. Let's see how many times I can make that noise this episode.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's
he was not. In case those of you who are unaware of N'Keal Harry's career trajectory, it's not on the same path as DeAndre Hopkins. NKC in here saying hi. What's up, NKC? Welcome.
What up, NKC?
And we got Jolly Rancher over here saying good morning, breakfast boys. Good morning, breakfast mom.
Breakfast mom.
What's for breakfast mom?
Let us know.
Something fancy.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon, just cinnamon. Spoonfuls of cinnamon help the cinnamon go down. Another team I'd like to see DeAndre Hopkins end up on, and just here's the series of events. Coop laid out a series of events. I want Aaron Rodgers to end up on another team, not the Packers, and then the Packers to sign DeAndre Hopkins, just to perpetuate the continual story that the Packers refuse to get him weapons. So I want them to trade away Aaron Rodgers to sign with a new team. Whatever the case is, he retires, and then they sign DeAndre Hopkins to that team. That's my goal.
That's brutal, and that's very mean.
I hope that happens now.
Dale, you have any teams that you hope he ends up on?
No. You know what? No, I do. I want to see him on the Chargers because I just want to go full in on my Chargers fandom.
That'd be wild, dude. Justin Herbert to the moon if that happened, right? Because then they'd have the field stretcher and Mike Williams. They would have the They could move Keenan Allen to the slot and stretch out his career, kind of like Larry Fitz. And then you have Hopkins playing split end, man. Beautiful thing. I wouldn't mind seeing him across from Michael Pittman. That wouldn't be too bad.
Who's throwing to him?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's more.
It matters a little bit, but he's also found fantasy success with guys like
Derek Carr,
Brock Osweiler,
Tom. Who was Tom who threw him the ball?
Tom Savage.
Was it Tom Savage? I had that name in my head. It
Yeah.
just didn't sound like a real name,
Bring
so I
in
didn't
Tom
say it. I was
Savage.
like, that's a wrestler.
Bring in Tom Savage. I mean, he could go. If you really wanted to put him in a place where he would just be like the top target and get absolutely peppered, you could put him on the Chicago Bears, for instance.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Across
Another
from
team that-
you have him as a split end, and then you have Moondog as the flanker, right? Would free up Mooney to never have to like tether his foot to the line and get jammed up. Could be good for both those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another team, JL, I'm surprised you skipped this one over. The team that yesterday, during the fantasy draft, we were going through the end and realized, I don't know if there's a single wide receiver that will get drafted through 50 rounds from this team. That's the Baltimore Ravens. Your team, the Baltimore Ravens, always in need of a wide receiver. Though for fantasy, I don't think we'd be too thrilled with the wide
That'd be
receiver
awful.
with D-Hop ending up in Baltimore.
That would be no good for our boy Rashad Bateman,
Yeah, Rashad Bateman would get screwed. Mark Andrews would be weird.
right? The
It
ideal
wouldn't. DeAndre Hopkins would be irrelevant. It would be a mess. That
It'd be
I would
bad.
not want that.
NKC rules apparently didn't. His phone glitched, so we'll once again say good morning, NKC. What's up, brother?
Welcome in. And Craig said Texans could use a wide receiver. Yeah, the Texans trade for DeAndre Hopkins in the end of the worst trade in NFL history.
Full circle. Close the loop.
Got to bring Bill O'Brien back to do that trade.
That's the thing that finally gets his butt chin to be not a butt chin. Goes from an innie to an outie.
Who has a better butt chin, Bill O'Brien or Tom Brady?
Bill O'Brien.
Bill
O'Brien's the king, I think.
I think you guys are underestimating Brady's butt chin.
king of the beehole chin.
The Bajo.
Pretty
Yes,
strong.
as Cooter.
The
as
Bajo.
Cooter alluded to.
I think it was Craig's. That was Craig's name, the Bajo. We got Craig in the chat, the creator of the Bajo.
Oh, Bill O'Brien definitely has the greater butt chin. You guys are right, dude. It's like a dark crevice. It's like the
I told you.
It's like the Sarlacc pit.
No
from
one
Star
believes
Wars.
me.
You can't even see. You can't
Dale,
even see
I was
the
on your
bottom
side
of it.
immediately. I didn't even consider that this was an
Simon
argument.
believes me.
I was just waiting for Coop to Google Bill O'Brien butt chin because I
yeah.
like I wasn't even worth fighting because I knew he was going to pull it up.
Yeah.
It's great, bro.
What's
you
bigger,
can't-
the Grand Canyon or the creek outside my house?
You literally can't see the bottom, dude. Like you could throw a penny down there, it would just do that thing where you like clanks all the way down the well, and you don't even know where the bottom is.
So disrespectful. You're so disrespectful.
Somebody got to shine a light in there.
Hey, I called him the king of the butt chin, so I don't want to hear anything about disrespect here.
That's true.
I
True.
declared him royalty of all those with butt chins.
You're right. You're right.
Albert in here saying the Giants are another good team for Hopkins. Yeah, if Brian Dable's got Daniel Jones' career trajectory going the right direction, they're rolling with him. They don't really have an alpha dog there at the wide receiver position. D-Hop could roll right into that offense.
Every team is better with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean,
That is
Yes.
a true fact.
literally everyone.
Yeah, he's probably. I think he's in the conversation for best wide receiver. Just skills alone.
There's only a handful of
Probably that
teams.
draft.
What teams don't necessarily need him? I guess maybe the Bengals.
Justin Jefferson.
The Buccaneers don't necessarily need
So-
him. They could use him though.
I think the Vikings. At the end of the day, the Vikings,
The Ravens.
with Kevin O'Connell, want to run 3 wide receiver sets. So they do need one more guy, unless they think KJ Osborne is the guy.
They might. Another massive news story out of yesterday, guys, is the Ravens signing Roquan Smith to a big contract. He's now, according to Ian Rappaport, now the highest paid at his position in NFL history with a 5-year, $100 million deal, $45 million guaranteed, and $60 million in total guarantees, which is massive.
Why can't my Chicago Bears get guys like that?
Ha, ha, ha.
Why
So
are
I
they wearing
think
this?
I have no idea. I didn't even know you owned a Bears shirt.
It's a Bears as a tight end guy. It's a Bears. Obviously, it's a Bears Jimmy Graham jersey.
Nice.
I got a Bears jersey. It's one of
Get
the
it.
few team jerseys I have. It's way far away in my closet. It is a William the Refrigerator Perry Bears jersey.
What? That's so sick. Why don't you hang that behind you?
I
Weren't you going to
should.
get Pokemon cards during the break yesterday?
Yeah, and then I forgot. So I got a
Oh.
lot. Oh God, I got to take the garbage out during the break. I got to get my Pokemon cards. I got to get my William Perry Bears jersey. We're going to be busy. Yeah, it's going to be a busy break. Jill, the biggest thing I saw from this wasn't even excitement from Ravens fans. I feel like there should have been like this general excitement. We got it locked up. It was, oh shoot, if we're signing him to this big of a deal, how the hell are we going to sign Lamar to the kind of deal that he wants? Is the general reaction I saw from Ravens fans. So the Ravens fans, and myself included, who thought, of course, they're going to re-sign him. 100% he's getting that deal done. This just crept in that little bit of doubt. Like, that is going to be an insane amount of their cap tied up in 2 players if they do sign Lamar.
Here's an interesting wrinkle to this is that, Lamar Jackson famously does not want to use an agent. His mother is his manager, acting as his agent. So technically not really using a real agent. And Roquan Smith did not use an agent here. So the Ravens at least proving they're willing to, they've proved just now, it's not the fact that he doesn't have a real agent that's holding this deal up, because they just signed a monster contract with a guy that represented himself.
Yeah, it's baffling. It's baffling as a Ravens fan. It's just looking at this as an outsider looking in. It's like, why are they having so much trouble signing Lamar Jackson? Like, what the out going to get a deal on Lamar Jackson. You're going to have to pay him a top 5 contract or give him a top 5 contract at the position. And then on top of that, like, you're either waiting for him to get injured or to like get one over on him, which both of those don't really help you in the long run. So it's baffling to me that this is still an issue.
I'm telling you right now, I already said this, like, top quarterbacks get $45 to $50 million a year, right? He's not using an agent, so he's saving that money there. Why don't you just take the 5% you would pay an agent, take the top money, 45, 50 million, whatever it is, subtract that, $2 to $3 million a year from the total. Boom, there you go. Done deal. I just negotiated the whole thing, dude. It took me 5 minutes. It took me one.
I think what we're seeing here, and it's a common bidding strategy in auction leagues whenever you're doing stuff like this. I think the Ravens are just doing stars and scrubs. Like, I think they're going to re-sign Lamar Jackson, and this is going to be a very star-heavy lineup between Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, and Lamar Jackson. Supposedly, if they get this done, they're going to have their stars on big deals. Then they're going to figure the rest out. They're going to build around these superstar contracts.
And they've made it work so far. They made it work with less pieces than it seems like other NFL teams. So I'm with you, Simon. I think it's a solid theory.
They're also a notoriously stingy organization in terms of they're not afraid to let guys walk. In fact, since the compensatory picks were put into place, they not only have the most, but they've gotten 10 more than any other team. Like, that's kind of their thing, like working the system, getting the comp picks. But in this case, not worth it, dude. Not worth it. Just lock this guy up. Lock him up. Keep him here. I see Scott Fish in the chat. I went to Vikings training camp multiple times. They ran 3 wide receiver sets 100% of the snaps I saw. I think they definitely want to do that in terms of bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised they didn't use their first or second round pick on a wide receiver this year and just rolled with what they had. They got lucky, though, in terms of injuries. And Scott, I did want to mention to you, I not only have a bet, $100 to win $1,800 if they make it to the Super Bowl, but just yesterday I drafted a playoff team here on Better Sports. It's going to be dropping at noon for anyone that checks out, but my team is loaded with Vikings. So at this point, I'm asking your permission. Can I jump on the Vikings bandwagon with you and Ian? Because I'm already committed. Man, my team's eliminated, bro. So I'm already committed. I need a team to root for. I'm thinking Vikings, Scott. If you'll have me, I'll throw the skull out there.
No, the team that all bandwagon fans are supposed to jump on with is the Jaguars. That's who everyone's cheering for.
They can be my AFC bandwagon team.
Okay.
It's like a little Western film where I got a foot on each wagon, and I'm like, whoa.
Coop, Jail's probably getting a little jealous. Coop and I are like, look at all these teams we can cheer for, and Jail's like, yeah, but my team made it.
Who's your NFC playoff team, Jail? You still get there. You can still get one.
The Lions.
They're not.
I don't know, man. I don't want the Giants to win.
Dude, be careful with that. You're gonna bring Dr. Mike. You're gonna bring Dr. Microanalysis.
Slap me across the face.
It's not Maria. I'm scared about it. It's Dr. Microanalysis.
Well, then you're scared of the wrong person.
Yeah.
I'm scared of.
Then you are grossly misinformed, sir.
You're about to catch a juice cup over the head. I just feel like Dr. Microanalysis would be like one of those days where you just like you wake up and you're like, where am I? And he's like pulling on a glove. He's like,
like Dexter style.
You don't think you don't like the Giants, do you? Yeah. He's got like jumper cables in his hands or something.
You ever heard of microscopy?
What you're describing, Coop, reminds me of a show that I watched on Hulu one time that I've never been able to find again because I don't remember the title at all. It wasn't showing up in my recently played for something. I must have watched it on like somebody else's profile. I don't know. But it was this show where there was like this weird dream scientist where people would come in for like dream therapy, but it was like this sketchy, awful place. And all of a sudden they'd all just be like strapped down, and this doctor with crazy hair is like shoving cords into himself to like jumpstart his brain, and like everyone's freaking out. People are bleeding and the assistants are dying, and that's what I'm picturing you're describing.
And that was probably somebody's son-in-law who didn't root for the team as their NFC specific team. I mean, you got to be careful with those choices, JL. So tell us who it is. So far, you've only told us that it's not the Giants.
It's not the Giants.
Let's rule out some other teams. Rule out some other teams that you really don't like. Like, do you like the Cowboys? Do you like the Eagles?
No.
Can't pick them.
I
was setting you up.
You don't like the Buccaneers.
I was setting you up to pick one of those two teams. It would make it even worse for you and Maria.
I'm just hoping if I don't answer, you'll stop asking.
No, Buccaneers?
No,
Tom,
not the Buccaneers.
Tom Brady.
I'll go 49ers. I'll go big balls, Brock.
Oh, boo.
Big balls, Brock Purdy's where Jail's picking.
What about Geno, dude?
Jail hates Geno.
Yeah, Geno. I didn't tell you this, but Geno's not my friend anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
How dare you?
What did he do?
Stole my Lunchable.
Oh my god!
I know it's the pizza one
too.
It wasn't nachos, it's pizza.
The pizza one.
Well, then joke's on him because that one's disgusting.
Shut your mouth, dude.
He stole it and got home. And was like, oh man, it's the pizza one.
Pizza
That's what
one's great.
Smith sounds like, in case you were wondering.
Oh man.
What types of Lunchables even are there, really?
Nachos, pizza, ham and cheese crackers.
Ham and cheese is a classic, dude.
Yeah, but it's not good. Classic doesn't mean good.
None of them are actually good. Like you could easily just put a couple crackers and some, you know what I mean, like some cheese in your thing with you, like in a bag.
Jale, now that you've picked the 49ers, I wanted to bring this quote up that Jake Garcia posted on Twitter yesterday. It's a Pete Carroll quote. Did you see this?
No.
It was about them playing the Niners in the first round, and he says, unfortunately, we're playing the Niners, and they're loaded. Pete Carroll said about their first round matchup against San Francisco.
It's the opposite of Bill Belichick.
Yeah. No, that's kind of Bill Belichickian as well. Bill Belichick would have picked one specific player on that team and hyped up how incredible they were. Pete Carroll doesn't quite get it, so he's just saying, like, man, they're loaded. He's learning.
He would pick the worst player, too. That's what he always does. Belichick just picks like the worst player on their team and talks for 15 minutes about how he's actually not terrible.
Or even like an obscure, like maybe not necessarily worse, but someone who plays like an obscure position that isn't that important in the game, right? He'll talk about I say that, I don't mean it. He'll talk about their punt returner or their long snapper or their holder, or just how incredible they are.
This past week, the punt returner / kick returner turned out to be very important.
It did turn out to be very important.
After all.
You guys think the Seahawks stand a chance at all against the 49ers in this first round, or do you think the 49ers are going to steamroll them?
I think the 49ers are going to win, but I think the Seahawks stand a chance. They can hold their own. They've played well enough this season. Their defense has come along.
I didn't think that they stood a chance until I saw a video yesterday of Geno Smith doing the gritty while Pete Carroll like flew by on a scooter, and I was like, these guys got nothing to lose. Did you see that video?
I did see that video.
It's like, what are they doing over there?
They're just happy to be here, guys. They're like, we made it to the playoffs. We got scooters, we got gritties. We're just hanging out, man.
He's drinking like a milkshake of some kind. Like it's just this team's ready. Like they're wild cards. That's all I have to say.
You do love the team that has nothing to lose, right? Or like isn't sitting there thinking like for sure anything but a Super Bowl is a disappointment. Like the Seahawks making the playoffs this year with Geno Smith is an accomplishment. They're happy with that season. So they're coming in here.
I'm waiting for Brock Purdy to have a complete meltdown. It's entirely within the range.
You think it's gonna happen?
Even if he played like 5 games, it's entirely within the range of outcomes for him to just come out and just throw like 5 picks. That happens, bro. He's last round rookie.
He's like 16.
Like 16 years old. It could easily happen.
No other units, and not of age. I'm not going to speak any further on it though.
Okay, that's fair.
16 kilograms.
Craig in here saying any given Sunday or Saturday or Monday. Simon, yeah, you know what? It's the NFL. We've seen crazier things happen. We've seen the Texans hang with the Chiefs for 4 quarters. We've seen the Jeff Saturday-led Colts come in and beat the Raiders in his first game coaching. Big upsets happen. Not expecting it.
I've seen the Seahawks go 7-9 and backdoor their way into the playoffs and then beat the Saints.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
For the Saints fans out there. I apologize. Pretty gross. The Niners are 9.5-point favorites, so they're pretty heavy favorites. Not the biggest favorite in round 1. Well, I guess they're tied now. That Bills-Dolphins line has moved down to 9.5 as well. But pretty heavy dogs are the Seahawks. Albert in here saying, Simon, did you see the Rick and Morty new era caps? I did not, but I got them pulled up right here.
It looks sweet.
The portal gun one's pretty sick. I'm a big fan of that portal gun new era cap. I'm all right with that. I could handle a portal gun, I think. I could handle that responsibility.
I like the Frozen Rick 950 snap.
Crossover between the movie Frozen and Rick and Morty. That's the crossover episode we need.
It looks more like it could be Frozen or it could be like made out of diamonds, dude. Rick and Morty is so funny, man. That's such a good show.
It's a great show.
The only thing that ruins that show is the fan base is just ridiculously annoying.
There's a couple. It's died down. When like seasons 1, 2, 3, there was a more fervent. The Szechuan sauce at McDonald's days were more, but it's become mainstream enough that there is a common fan base of Rick and Morty. You know what I mean? It's not just the extreme fans that are out there representing.
I also include myself in that because I like when the first season came out, I was like, you have to watch this. Like I watched the first season myself like 50 times, like forcing my buddies to watch it. And you know, a couple of them were just like, yeah, this is all right. And I'm like, all right. Oh, all right. I'm like, look at him, he's drooling.
So we got Tommy in here saying Stidham almost beat the 49ers.
That's true.
You don't take him down. You don't take him down. So Geno Smith's running into it. I saw a report yesterday about the Rams that I thought was pretty interesting. We've talked about Sean McVay potentially leaving his job there with the Rams. His future's in limbo, and this is confirming a lot of that. Yesterday, to his team, this is from Jeremy Fowler, Coach Sean McVay has permitted his coaching staff to search for other jobs without resistance, per sources. McVay said in a staff meeting that he doesn't know what he will do next year and won't block those that want to explore opportunities. So there it is. He said it. It's what's happening.
I like to think when he was doing that meeting, he was like, you know, drinking a beer, like a margarita or something, and he just like had like one leg up, and he's just like, I don't know, do whatever you want. Like nothing matters anymore.
It's just down, like Eeyore version of Sean McVay.
He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. So why don't you guys do whatever you want? Go do.
They're like, is Matthew Stafford retiring? He's like, I don't know. You text him.
I've texted him like 4 times.
You ask him. I'm tired of asking him.
I'm a 36-year-old multimillionaire. Oh my god! I just won a Super Bowl. Had a big parade just for me. Woe is me. You know.
I imagined it slightly differently with how he was saying that. I imagined it like the guilt trip. Like, yeah, I mean, you guys are free to go wherever you want. If you really want to leave, I mean, I haven't decided what I'm doing yet.
But being emotionally manipulative.
If you guys want to leave, feel free to head on out and find another opportunity.
As he looks at the corner of the
exactly
right
down, and then
behind him,
he's leaving.
Behind him on the whiteboard, it's all their names, and like on the list is Brad Holmes' name with like a line through it because he went to the Vikings. They're like, hey, do whatever you would do. Sorry, you went to the Lions. Hey, yeah, do whatever you want. Right behind them, big letters with the
and a frowny face drawn next to it,
like
just
little stink lines.
Stink lines.
Joey saying McVay coming with that summer school teacher energy. Absolutely, that's what he's doing right here.
There was a few staffing changes. I see the Commanders fired Scott Turner, their offensive coordinator. I think we're gonna start to see more, right? As just as we get into the playoffs, these teams letting go of coaches. Who do you guys expect to see next?
You said the Titans fired their offensive coordinator?
Washington Commanders.
So the Titans also fired their offensive coordinator. Not sure if you saw that one.
So that's my answer for what comes next after the Commanders' offensive coordinator.
Thing that already happened.
He was fired first. Jail not feeling that response. Oh, the thing that happened. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if they're going to fire him because they seem like really good friends, but like Matt Patricia is either going to get fired or unceremoniously shuffled into a different role because he cannot be the play caller next year. There's no chance Belichick is that stubborn. Like, not a single person is defending this guy. They really aren't. You know, I tried to defend him just by saying, oh, well, you know, he's a rocket scientist. He's pretty smart. So
he's always got a pencil.
He's always got a pencil, always prepared, you know, but really there's no defending the way he called plays this year. So they got to do something there. Yeah.
I feel like that guy's got to have like the worst chap lips. He's just always,
Patricia?
He's just always doing this.
All of them, dude. All of them are
biting their lips.
All of them are so creepy. They really are. Especially
the Patriots coaching staff or just all coaches?
All
humans.
Not all of them though, because
people, men are weird.
Like if you separate like the actual coaching from the creepiness, like there are some coaches that are definitely not creepy. Like, dude, Mike Vrabel is the man. Like, he's
Mike McDaniel. That's like the least creepy man on planet.
Mike McDaniel is a little creepy. He's a little Simon.
Innocent.
Come on,
there's a cuteness to him that prevents him from being creepy.
He's definitely a little weird, bro. He's definitely
weird is not the same as creepy. Those are different words entirely. I don't know if you're aware of that. Weird is not creepy.
I'll tell you what. He has, of all the coaches, he has the dopest watch. There's no question. I don't know if you've seen it. He's got this like Breitling watch that is like easily 20 grand, and he flashes it like nobody's business. But like Belichick and Steve Belichick and Patricia, like that's the goon squad, man. Is there a creepier coaching staff than the Patriots?
If you did a coaching staff battle royale where you put all of them in an arena to fight to the death, that's the
you should do that bracket
right now. Coaching staff battle. I'm just kidding. We won't do it right now, but we should do it.
We should. Who's your number one seed? We can at least work on some seeding.
I know they're not the beefiest, but I think right now, if you take Steve, like we just make teams of 3 from every team. We take Bill Belichick, Steve Belichick, and Matt Patricia. I think they're coming out on top, and I think
never finding them.
I think it's not going to be pretty.
You ain't never finding them.
What do you think?
You're going to starve to death before you find them.
Oh, this is in like a Hunger Games style arena. Where, like, you can hide in the woods and stuff. This isn't in like the Roman Colosseum.
They're going to be like camouflaged to trees.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm taking
you're gonna be laying on the ground and you're gonna be like, is that a mushroom moving? And you're gonna go to pick the mushroom to eat, and it's Steve Belichick's tongue. He buried himself and he's just sticking it out of the foliage, pretending to be a mushroom. Then he lures you in and gets you.
If we're going based on intimidation factor, I gotta take the Steelers. Mike Tomlin and Brian Flores and Terrell Austin. I'm not Matt Canada seems like he's kind of a nice guy, so I don't know if I'd put him. If I could pick any 3 guys, I don't know if he'd make the cut.
You guys left me the easiest stat. The Lions, man. Come on.
That's
give me
right.
Dan Campbell and the boys.
That screams the heroes that don't quite make it.
Like, they're gonna die first.
Trope. Exactly. They're gonna be the ones that inspire.
It's the
other
Rue
team that wins.
For keeping the Hunger Games analogy here. This is totally Rue.
It is totally the Rue.
They have Rue had a winning culture though.
Oh, Rue, R.I.P. Start crying.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't read Hunger Games. Just forget everything we said. Dustin said, "Morning, boys. What's up, Dustin? Welcome in." And Scott in here letting us know he's going on vacation next week. Excited to get rid of so many clothes. For those of you that don't know, Scott Fish brings all his clothes he wants to throw away on vacation, wears them, and then just leaves them behind. Craig wants to know who's the better coach, Matt Canada or Ron Mexico?
Got to be Ron Mexico, dude.
I get it because those are countries, Canada and Mexico. I'm going to go with Matt Canada.
I'm going to go Canada Dry.
Do you guys remember who Ron Mexico is?
No. Is that a real person?
Do you know, Joe, what Raw in Mexico is?
No.
Okay, so reportedly, Raw in Mexico, there was a civil lawsuit against Michael Vick that suggested that he knowingly gave a woman sexually transmitted diseases, and part of that civil case evidence showed that he used the name Ron Mexico to covertly go to like clinics to like get checked out. So that's where I'm fairly confident that's where Ron Mexico came from.
I see people in the chat saying it. That is that is wild.
And to the point,
That's the name you pick. What's your name? Ron. Ron what? Mexico. Ron Mexico.
There's a restaurant in Southern Maryland down on Chesapeake Bay, and it's called Mexico Restaurant.
That's a great name, dude.
It's Mexico Restaurant.
We have that one here.
Gets me every time.
The NFL won't let you make a jersey. They won't let you make Falcons or Eagles jerseys that say Mexico on the back because of that. It's on the banned word list.
Oh, because of Michael Vick.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Not because of the restaurant in Maryland that has the name just Mexico,
or the country apparently,
or the country,
or anybody else who inadvertently happens to be named Ron Mexico. I'm sure there's at least one Ron Mexico in the world.
Oh, I know, poor guy.
Yeah, and Scott Fishing, you're saying what you said, saying people had custom Vic Falcons jerseys with Mexico on the back, and they blocked you from making it after some did. You guys are in sync. You're finishing each other's.
We're both Vikings fans now. I'm not sure if Scott missed that part of the show where I asked him to be Vikings fan, and he never responded. But I got enough money on it that I feel like I'm a Vikings fan no matter what. So I'm trying to get on that bandwagon. We got the mind meld going. Let's make it happen. Let's make a run. This is our year.
Fun. I saw a fun stat for our Cowboys fans in the chat. So Craig, any other Cowboys fans? This one's for you. Dak Prescott, this is from Dov Kleiman, is the first quarterback in NFL history to lead the league in interceptions despite missing 5+ games. He and Davis Mills tied with a league-leading 15 interceptions. Dak only played in 12 games.
That doesn't seem fun.
It's the interception machine.
Interception machine this year.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, it's not fun. It's the opposite of a fun fact. But they're still sitting there in the playoffs. What'd you say?
You think it has to do with the sleep number?
Did he get a sleep number? Is that a true fact?
That's his big thing, yeah.
That's his big brand, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that probably could have caused all the interceptions.
His sleep number is 15.
He needs to up it a little bit.
He's got to up it, and then his interception number will go down.
What if his interceptions? What if they're tied together? That's why he threw 15 interceptions.
Well, I think they're tied together inversely, is what I'm thinking. Because 15 is a pretty low sleep number. If they're tied together directly, then he's just going to be sleeping on a flat air mattress.
The old Najee Harris sleep on the floor.
We should have sleep number ratings for players.
Should. Then we know too much. It would make fantasy like too easy.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like tell me Tom Brady's a 74. I'm not drafting him. Are you kidding me?
74?
So soft. Such a
sleep
soft
on rock.
Oh, or is that hard?
That's pretty hard. That's pretty hard.
Oh, so the higher the number, the harder it gets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would be surprised if Tom Brady just like slept on like a slab of concrete, or he just like slept upside down like a bat.
He's got a giant thing of marble.
Yeah, there's no way that dude just sleeps normal like us, like reads.
He's like that guy from the movie What We Do in the Shadows. Who's the name of the vampire that's in the basement in the coffin? Peter. Peter, right? Isn't that what it is?
Peter.
Peter. They've got him in the basement. That's how Tom Brady sleeps, and Blaine Gabbert goes down to wake him up in the mornings.
Amazing, dude. That probably is how it happens.
And Craig said, as a longtime Cowboys fan, I'm already dead inside. Your words can't hurt me.
For any Dolphins fans out there, there's a good stat for Tua that I saw. I saw that he is the youngest player to lead the NFL in passer rating since another Dolphins quarterback. Can you guys guess who?
Marino.
Dan Marino.
Star of Ace Ventura?
The star of Ace Ventura. Most famously known as the star of Ace Ventura and the guy that one time...
Did you know he played football?
Ace Ventura.
What'd you say, Simon?
I said, did you know he played football? Dan Marino? Not many people know that.
Heard that.
They think of him as that Ace Ventura guy.
Once or twice.
It's kind of like the Rock. He played
like the Rock.
He played at Miami. Exactly like the Rock. Yeah, became a famous movie star. Yeah, and my favorite stat of the year was that He did not finish as a top 12 quarterback. That means that I won my bet with Fantasy Alarm Marketer and Monday Night Rants host on this very channel, Edward Rouse. So that bet was loser had to get dressed up for a show. If I lost on this show, I would have to wear a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader costume. If he lost on his show, he has to dress up like the nurse from the Blink 182 album cover. So that outfit's been ordered. Not sure when that show is going to be, but I'll make sure to announce it on the show. So we can all stay tuned on one Monday night for Monday Night Rants, where one of our very own will be looking super sexy for a show. Thanks to him.
And the Edward's wearing a nurse outfit.
Yeah, and the best part is that he definitely would have finished top 12 if he didn't get hurt. So it was actually a terrible bet by me.
Yeah, maybe should have been a points per game bet with a minimum threshold of games.
You know, he mentioned that after the fact. I said maybe next year.
And Dustin said, except Tua isn't going to play. Yeah, it's looking iffy that we're going to see Tua in the first round of the playoffs here. Which means it's looking iffy that we'll see Tua in the postseason at all. Because without Tua on the field, I don't think the Dolphins have a single chance. With Tua, they got a chance. I'd still pick the Bills. But without Tua, it's not happening, man.
Has Tua solidified his position? Because coming into the season, I think he's on the hot seat.
He's locked in now.
He's locked in. Mike McDaniel likes to. They saw what he can do with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the field. The dude was electric. And like Coop said, led the league in passer rating. Like he was a good quarterback this year.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple QBs that came in on the hot seat, and I'm interested if you think they've locked them in. Now, do you guys think that Daniel Jones is locked in for an extension? They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Do you think he did enough to be locked in like Tua, or is he still kind of on that seat?
Reportedly, they put a contract in front of him already. Is like what the reports are, is that they have a contract in front of Daniel Jones already. So it sounds like they want to move forward with him. I would have said no prior to seeing that report, but he has looked a lot better this year. And I think Dable is just good at what he does. The reports of him being able to work with quarterbacks seem to be true. But yeah, I was surprised by that. But the reports say that they've got a contract in front of him already, not signed.
I feels like he's the type of guy that's just going to take whatever they give him. He's going to take the first offer and go with it. All right.
Yeah, that would be right. That sounds about right. Whatever you guys think is fine.
Yeah, whatever you think is fair.
What about Mr. Jared
makes that face at them?
It's funny you bring up Jared Goff because I was going to bring up there's actually a story on this. The Lions GM over the weekend was backing up Jared Goff, saying he's proved he's our starting QB.
Wow.
Here's the quote. I think it's a lot easier to get worse at quarterback than to get better in this league. He said at the end of the season news conference. And he said, so I think what Jared has done this year, he captained the ship of a top 3 offense, and he was top 10 statistically in most of the passing categories.
There you go, dude.
Goff might have carved himself out a role. This might be part coach speak, part just like gassing up Jared Goff. You know, even in worst case scenario, like they're thinking about this. What if they trade Goff? Right? If they decide to draft somebody, they wouldn't want to trade Goff. So
very true. You also have to remember Brad Holmes I mentioned earlier that he was with the Rams. He was the head scout when they drafted Goff, and he basically, became the Lions GM, then immediately traded for Goff. So he's definitely been in Goff's corner this whole time. That's a guy that has, obviously they're all rooting for Goff, but talk about a guy that is probably legitimately friends with this guy. They've been together for 6 years. What is it now? So, but yeah, I like Goff, man. He looked good. What do you guys think about let's say Kenny Pickett? Do you think he's locked himself in, or does he still have something to prove?
I think he still has something to prove, but he's locked himself in as the starter for next year. Like, I think they're going to roll him out as the starter next season, but I don't think his job is guaranteed to be the starter at the end of next season. But that being said, we've seen many quarterbacks kind of have stinky first years, then come out and they take that step up. We see them go the other way as well. We see the Zach Wilsons of the world.
Mac Jones,
where it just keeps getting worse. But we also see the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Fields. We see these players. Well, that's on the other side. That's fully on the Zach Wilson side there. But we see the guys who come out and improve. And Kenny Pickett, towards the end of this season, started showing little flashes that he could be a good quarterback in this league, not just an average game manager. So I think he's earned the role to start next year, but he's got to take a step forward.
Very few people get erased as quickly as Josh Rosen did. That was crazy. back-to-back first round picks. What do you think, JL? Do you think Kenny Pickett, he's at least starting, but maybe not like giving him extension level?
I fully agree with Simon. I think as long as he is the best option available to them, they'll roll with him. But I don't think they're committed beyond that. I don't think they're locked and loaded Kenny Pickett.
I like that. Yeah, there's not too many. I guess Mac Jones would be one to bring up. That's a tough one.
He didn't come in on the hot seat. He came in as everybody was like, he's the top guy.
That's what that can happen to some of these other. That can happen to some of these other guys.
I saw preseason Mac Jones MVP dark horse talks this year, and now it's people calling for the Zapster all of a sudden.
They want him. They want Zappy, dude. They want the shotgun. They want the excitement. Zappy, I will say, he was slinging it quite a bit more. His shotgun and all that with Zappy, they were chucking.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Hunter Henry was getting the end zone. I feel like we had a Hunter in the hen house every week when Henry was when Zappy was a QB.
Hunter.
We had our Hunter in the hen house. Arkansas boy.
Simon, you could do Mongolian throat strings so well.
Thank you. You have no idea how much that means to me, Joe.
Yeah,
the only thing is, you get that cyclical breathing shit. Where they can breathe in their nose and out their mouth at the same time. It's absurd.
That's crazy.
Then you can just go forever.
I can't breathe out of my nose half the time.
Yeah, right now if I do it too much, you're just gonna hear straight boogers.
That's what that makes for a good show. Let's all just breathe through our noses.
Nasal noises brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy.
It's in the game.
We're in your nose.
No, we're in our nose. You're in our nose.
You're in our nose.
Your ears are in our nose. Front Yard Fantasy. Welcome to the ear hell. Is what we got. And that's it for us this morning. That's gonna be where we peek over there. Joey said golf was incredible at home in 2022. 23 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. A Motor City at home superstar. Yeah, dude probably has his job secured going into next year for Jared Goff.
Hey, Joey. Good morning, buddy. Glad you're here.
Good morning, Joey.
Thanks.
Coop, you got anything to say to Joey?
Hey.
There we go.
Me and Joey, we're cool now. We're boys. We did a couple shows together, so we're back on the same page. Maybe next year I'll even acknowledge him when he comes up to me dressed as whatever that thing he does is.
It's Joey. The character is also Joey. Guys, coming up, we've got some hypothetically we're going to run through. We're going to go through our diaries in a segment we call Dear Diarrhea and let you know some lessons that we've learned. And then we're going to have a new game that we're playing one word at a time, and we're going to get interviewed. An expert's going to join the show and help you guys answer any questions you have and any questions Coop has over here. And then we're going to talk about this playoff picture, the matchups coming up this weekend for the NFL Wildcard weekend. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
And now Williams is down on the ground and a little slow to get up. And this is not what the Chargers wanted to see.
Hey, he should be fine to practice and X-rays were negative. The guy's still not 100% heading to the playoffs. That's the bottom line.
That line moved too, and I had talked about it on the Catch It podcast with Howard when we go over the games. I said, look, you can't really bet the Chargers game until we know what happens in the Ravens-Bengals game. Well, you probably should have seen the telltale sign when no Lamar Jackson, no Tyler Huntley, no Mark Andrews. Okay, they're probably going to lose. We closed at Chargers plus 6.5. Chargers had nothing to play for yet. Their starters were in there. We saw Joey Bosa go down, obviously Mike Williams, and he struggled to even get on a card. Like, if there's anyone that you're going to protect, it's got to be Mike Williams. This guy's had a history of injuries, back issues. He's missed time this year. And we see how dominant he could be on the field and what he does for this offense. So I was surprised that he didn't take him out. And Bosa got banged up. You've had a lot of injuries this year. Herbert played almost the entire game. I mean, he had 37 pass attempts. I have no idea what he was doing. And Staley's a guy that doesn't play his guys in the preseason. Keenan Allen was in the whole way. I mean, if you had Keenan Allen in the Week 18 championship or played his props, you're loving it because he had 8 for 102 and 2 touchdowns and 11 targets. But man, I have no idea what Staley was thinking here when you have nothing to play for. Nothing. You're locked in.
Yeah, then pride, I get it.
No,
pride,
I don't. I don't get it.
It's like when people have a lot of pride, it impacts their decision making, and it's stupid. It's stupid. Nothing to play for. What's the point? It's football. It's a contact sport. You bend one wrong way, you're out for a number of weeks. That's the problem, and that's what I didn't understand.
I'm telling you, Kansas City does not want to see the Chargers win. If Bills and Cincinnati handle the business, the Chargers win. Chargers go to Kansas City. I'm telling you right now, Kansas City does not want to see that. Chargers always play Kansas City well. They played them very close 2 times this year. And obviously, a play or 2 here or there, Chargers win that game. Kansas City does not want to see the Chargers. I'm telling you right now, they do not want the Chargers to win. That would be the worst matchup for them. And that's why, if you believe in the Chargers to reach the AFC Championship game might not be a bad bet if you think they can win this week, because I think they're going to give the Chiefs problems.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have a lot of weapons that they could turn to on the offensive end.
But they're still the Chargers.
Right.
And they always find a way. Trust me, I've been a sucker for the Chargers like the last 5 years, and every time they let me down.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Your fantasy football season continues with the NFL Playoff Challenge, sponsored by Lucra. Click the link in our app or at bettersports.com and on Twitter at Better Network.
Yeehaw! Welcome in. Good morning. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Yep, skiddly-doo!
Yep, skiddly-doo. Pew, pew.
I was doing the girl voice for that one. I feel like we always do the boy voice. I was trying to get the girl represented in that photo.
Yeah. Speaking of girl voice, was that Heather on the Lucra ad just now?
It had to be. It had to be
sharp. She sounded great.
And guys, we talked a bit about the NFL playoff draft that Coop and I took part in yesterday. It's going to air today at 12 p.m. But Heather just mentioned right there, and I'm going to mention it here too. You guys should play against us in the Fantasy Football Playoff Challenge, sponsored by Lucra. You can compete against us, the hosts here, me, Coop, JL. We're going to be in there. Corey, Nando, Fensty, Ronas. Everyone's going to be playing in that. And against the community here, against everybody here in the chat. So click that link in the app or at bettersports.com to register for free and make sure to set your lineup before this weekend. Top prize is $500 cash plus a full-sized autographed helmet. There's prizes for other winners throughout this contest as well. So sign up, get in there, be eligible for those prizes, and compete against us for some bragging rights. You beat us, we might bring you up on here to talk some trash live to our faces.
We might.
Coop,
and
you
also
give me your best trash talk.
Oh, bro, you stink at fantasy.
Oh,
was that good?
Pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. That hurt my feelings.
So just be careful coming on to talk trash against me, dude, because so quick I was with that. Ready to fire away. Yeah, and you get to pick what helmet it is. I think there's a bunch of them listed on the site. So very cool stuff. Very cool.
You get your shot. I have never bought a helmet because I truly fear my ability to not wear it all the time. I had a Dallas Cowboys helmet as a kid, and I would wear that all the time. I'm afraid to put a new helmet in this house. Can't put that on.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game, dude. And I guarantee you wouldn't last a half hour before you put it on, Simon.
I think all children under 5 should wear football helmets at all times. Just let them have a football helmet on, strapped in. Then they can run into walls. They can fall off tables. They can do whatever they do, and it'll keep them relatively protected.
But the problem with that is then you got to wean them off the helmet, because part of hitting your head, it's like play with a fire, get burned. Only way the boy go and learn. That's a Mr. philosopher named Jay-Z once said that. And how else are these kids going to know not to knock their noggins if anytime they hit their head, it's not hurting them? So it's a risky game. You're developing bad habits.
So maybe not the best helmet. A helmet doesn't stop it from hurting, just maybe stops the damage. You're still going to feel it.
Oh, man,
I guess it depends on the level of contact. Tommy in the chat saying helmet and a nightgown. Yeah, that's how I'm going to go to sleep going forward. Helmet and a nightgown. I'll be safe and breezy.
Strong look.
What's up, John Luke?
What's up?
You doing all right?
Doing fantastic. How you boys doing?
Fantastic. Never been better.
A little tea there. What flavor tea you got?
Got a little green tea here. Voice is feeling a little part, so I went down and got myself some tea.
Can I get sultry?
I took out the
Trying to get a
garbage.
little
I got
salt.
2 of the 3 things I said I needed to accomplish during the breakdown. But you know what they say? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I took the garbage out. Then I also went to my vehicle and procured my Pokemon
Let's
card box.
go.
Check that out.
All
It comes with a new
right.
giant card to add to my giant card collection, plus some other guys loose in there. And then there's 4 packs as well
Let's
inside this
go.
pack.
Electrode on the cover.
That's
So we could probably
tight.
open some of these at some point during the show today. But I got this ready to go.
But not now. What if we did? What if we at least see what the big card is?
We can get that big card out of here.
Yeah.
I'll throw it
I mean,
in
yeah,
the big card binder.
Yeah. Yesterday you said we were going to open them, and then you didn't. Everyone was so fired up in the chat, and then you kind of left us hanging. You know, we probably lost followers.
We probably did. Here we go.
Here we
It has
go.
been
What do we got?
open.
What do we got?
Stop
What do we
the
got?
show.
You
What do
gotta
we
do
got?
it. You got to do it slow and dramatic. Like they,
Well, this one was already shown because it was just the big one in the box. Here is the giant card that comes with it.
oh, hell
Hisuian
yeah.
Electrode V. Jail, you love an Electrode.
But that's like the region specific one, isn't it?
It
That's
is.
not
It's
like
the
the
one that's
OG.
made of. It's the one that's made of wood.
Oh,
What
that's
other-
right.
grass.
From
It's
the
grass
last one.
electric. Yeah.
Grass electric. How the hell is that even possible?
Yeah, that makes me
Kind of-
uncomfortable.
Kind of stretching.
Pokemon's
physics
getting
a little
wild.
there.
Splinters and electricity. No, thank you.
Kinda, yo, give us without opening any of the packs. Just give us a little rundown of what you got in there. Dude.
Open
Give us a
all the
little-
packs
give
and
us a
tell us
little
every single one.
Give us a little unboxing.
So it comes with a small version of that same card, that Electrode card. And then JL, here's your OG holographic Electrode card right there. We got
It's
the
got
OG.
feet?
No,
that
it
the-
does not have feet. It is part. It
Looks
is
like it has feet
exploding.
there.
Like that's the
I don't-
Oh, it's just
explosion
red.
going around.
Okay, I see.
I don't know if that's the original Electrode, man.
It is. I'm just telling you, it is. It's
Oh,
just
yeah? What's-
Electrode.
It
What's
is.
this then?
I mean, it's not the original
Just
Electrode.
a different picture
card,
of Electrode.
But
What's
it is
that?
The original
What's that?
Electrode card. Hey, Coop, you're fighting against no one right here. We all agree. We're all on the same page.
Not
I'm not
me.
fighting you.
Not me. I feel like you're
doesn't
trying to fool
understand
me.
why people have multiple Facebook
You got
photos.
you got some Electrode.
What is
you
this?
You got some Electrode with feet over there.
I show Coop a picture of myself. He's like, "That's not you." He pulls up a baby picture. This is you. This is you. Not you right now. This is who you are.
This is you
This
right
is what
now.
you look like.
This is you.
Magic
Just
card.
wait till I evolve.
Yeah.
Then it comes
Yeah,
with 4
I don't.
booster
I don't
packs
think
as
you ever
well.
will. I don't
We
think
got
you
4
ever will.
booster packs, 2 Lost Origin, an Astral Radiance, and a Brilliant Stars, of course. We'll open
Brilliant
those at some point. We'll get those
Stars.
open.
Can we actually do a Pokemon battle on the stream
Like with the games or just like
with the cards?
with the cards? That would probably be an awful stream to do a Pokemon card battle between 2 people who don't really know how to play.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Does anyone know
Sounds
how to
good.
play? Does anyone know how to play the actual game
No.
with the cards?
I know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh because I recently was playing against my girlfriend's brother. He set up a little tournament. We all made decks.
Who won?
I beat him because I made.
Was he mad?
You jerk.
I think so, but he wouldn't say it. Like he was a good sport about it. But the reason he was
you could
probably
tell.
mad is because I made
Uncle
the
Simon.
most annoying
Uncle Simon.
deck on planet Earth. Uncle Simon came in and said, "I know we're supposed to be having fun, but my deck is not fun at all. My deck is
Yeah.
set here to ruin fun and just to win." Because most other people, they're using
just
like
said-
monsters to like hurt the other person and damage them and take away their life points. I set up an entire deck. There was a card where whenever it's on the battlefield, it turns all healing effects into damage dealing effects. And then I had other cards that let me search my deck. And there's a card called Gift, which just gives 3,000 health points to your opponent. And I loaded it full of those. And it was basically like if I could survive until I pulled these cards out of my deck, it would be a 1-turn kill. I'd knock you out of the game. If I couldn't, you would beat me, but that has yet to happen.
Wow. So you went to your girlfriend's little brother and you pulled out your deck?
Older brother.
Older brother. Okay.
And you said, "Hey, I'm Uncle Simon.
I'm Uncle
here to
Simon.
ruin your day."
I'm Uncle Simon. Want to see my deck?
And he said, "Yeah, it stands no chance against mine." We had a Yu-Gi-Oh deck off, and
Well, if
what
it's
you got.
if it's older brother, then I don't feel bad about you beating him at all. I thought you said little brother.
also Warchunga said,
see
"I
what you
play."
got.
My kids and I play, and then Dozen said, "Yes, my son bought the starter battle set." So we got some people who know how to play the game. I
Hell
used
yeah,
to play the
dude.
card game, but I haven't played the
Way
card
back
game.
in
Just
the day.
collected the cards in a long time.
Yeah, I don't have any.
He said, "Uncle
Yu-Gi-Ohs.
Simon's whipping out his deck again." Yeah, every family gathering. It's not just me; we're all whipping our decks out.
It's a problem.
Not
It's
again,
becoming a
dude.
problem.
Right.
Don't mind Jedi with the Ayo. What's up, Jedi?
Ew,
Welcome.
what up,
Ayo.
Jedi?
Yo.
Glad to
Jedi
have
was
you
here earlier.
Joe, we ready to get into some hypothetically here?
Oh yeah, I got some prompts for you guys today. Stayed up late coming up with these bad boys.
Right.
If this is your first time joining us to play some hypothetically, this game is very simple. It's very simple. I'm going to pose a hypothetical question, a would you rather question or hypothetical scenario. And these guys, all they have to do, I'm going to give them an opportunity to ask questions. And their only job really is to answer the prompt and to overthink their answers. Guys, you ready to get into it?
Oh, I spent all last night practicing, laying in bed.
Really? What'd you do?
I laid in bed overthinking every single aspect of my life, preventing me from falling asleep.
Oh, you were going to do this. You're going to do so well on this, Simon.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All
Play
right.
that
so
game
here's your
every night.
every night before bed.
Justin said,
Sometimes-
hypothetically, if you don't open those packs in the next segment, we riot.
Yeah, for real, Simon. You just
Literally.
giant Pokemon tees.
Everyone's like trying to hit fast forward right now on YouTube. And it's realizing it's
That's
live.
live. Dang it. All right, guys, here's your first hypothetically prompt. You are given 3 tasks to choose from. You must choose one of the tasks, and if you don't complete it, someone is going to be mean to your mom.
Hey,
Would you rather? Option A, write and perform a 3-hour play with Daniel Jones and win a Tony Award. Or option B, teach advanced calculus to Gronk so he can pass the AP exam. Or option C, train Mac Jones to be a first-chair oboist in this Boston Symphony.
Okay. First question. How long do I have to accomplish these feats?
You have 1 year.
1 year to write a Tony Award-winning musical or to
I was
make
gonna
Mac
say-
Jones
I was to say
a
some Gronk's
classically
out.
trained oboist.
All right, 2 years.
2 years.
Are you happy with that?
Yes. Okay.
5 years. Give me 5 years.
Two-
Those are pretty
2.5,
neat.
that's as high as I'll go.
All right. Do these guys, is it part of my response? Like, do they continue being quarterbacks or are we devoting our time to this?
Well, Gronk continues to be a quarterback.
Naturally.
Yeah, they'd have to continue playing.
Okay. Well, I mean, that 1 point for Gronk there, because although trying to get Gronk to do anything is probably a damn near impossible task. Like trying to get him to just stop doing the ridiculous things that he already does would be pretty difficult.
And here's the move with Gronk. You call up the heads over there at the WWE, and you have to hatch a plan with them to make Gronk think he's in a WWE event once a week. But really, it's calculus
It's just a
lessons.
Trick to learn.
It's calculus lessons. You're like, and introducing your opponent for the day, the Mad Derivative. And you get him in there, and you're like, Gronk's in there, and he's on the ground, and he's like, no, not the plus C. You never forget the plus C. And Gronk's like, plus C. Bends his leg over his head. He's got it down. That's how you train Gronk. You got to trick him into thinking it's like a hype event.
Pat McAfee's there too, just to complete the whole thing.
And Dustin said, don't call
Illusion.
WWE right now. Company about to be sold. Maybe that's exactly why I do call them. We buy it and turn it into a covert calculus tutoring center.
He's like, it's crazy enough, it just might work.
I didn't know they were about to be sold, dude. That's wild. Vince McMahon hanging up his jock
Big
strap.
balls.
Yeah.
Hanging up his giant jock strap.
like Jedi in here saying they're gonna have to be mean to my mom. She's from Memphis. She can take it.
Should be mean right back. Yeah, those are.
So JL the Daniel Jones prompt here. I have to write. Was the word and perform in there?
Yep, write and perform a 3-hour play with Daniel Jones and win a Tony Award.
Is it just the two of us, or are we allowed to have additional cast members in there?
You're allowed to have other additional cast members.
Must we be the stars, or must we just be in the play?
No, you and Daniel are the stars.
We have to be the leads.
The hardest part. So that one wouldn't be that hard, except you have to win the Tony. That's the real hard part. So you need to get him to really lay it all out there. Now with Mac Jones, we don't need to win any awards or anything, but he needs to make it into a particular orchestra, or what's the how do we know
Symphony.
how do we know we were okay? The Boston Symphony. Okay,
First chair
so
oboist.
one of the best in the world. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Oh man, I think I know which way I'm going, Simon. Where are you at?
I'm trying to rationalize how it's even possible for the three of these. With the Mac Jones one, I don't play the oboe. Like I'm going to be learning too. I've got no chance of getting Mac Jones to be the principal oboist. I
think you're going to be learning
the
all
Boston
three.
Symphony. With Gronk, I'm pretty confident in my calculus ability.
Calculus.
It's been a while. I'm pretty confident in that.
You have to teach Gronk?
I would have to teach myself. I would have to teach myself first. I would have to relearn it first before I started teaching somebody else. Because the thing is, I'm confident in the basics, but there was definitely a bunch of that stuff where I just was like,
it's gone.
That test was done.
That was all my degree was. Like electrical engineering is basically just math. It's just calculus and differential equations for 4 years, and then you graduate. So I think I could do that one. Now the Daniel Jones one, I'm thinking the only way you can find success in that is if you make it some weird, like abstract, silent musical that also plays on the emotions of some sort of like modern event that people are all invested in. Like, I think it would have to be manipulative in emotional nature in order to win a Tony, because I don't have the talent to win one without being emotionally manipulative of a situation that's sensitive to a lot of people. Now, I'm not doing that because I got morals, so I'm teaching Gronk calculus through the WWE.
I've got mine, and I'm going to do the Tony Award. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Daniel Jones. He's going to be the lead star, and the play is going to be Death of a Salesman. And Daniel Jones will play the titular Willie Loman. He'll be the salesman. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach him the entire play, except I'm going to leave out the death part. So it's going to be tough. We're going to have to try and cover up part of the marquee so he doesn't know that he dies. And as he's going through this play, crushing every single part of it, right towards the end, right as he's about to hit the last part, just like he does in the NFL, he's going to trip and fall on his face, just like he did on that 70-yard run. And that's when we shut the curtains and say the salesman died. And it's going to be so realistic because he's not going to know it's coming, but it's going to happen, that they're going to give us the Tony.
It's weird the Tony Award selection committee, couldn't recognize that you just clearly plagiarized Death of a Salesman for your play that you were supposed to have written.
I was going to say, I got bad news for you, Coop. Tony is awarded to the best new play.
Yeah, but it's going to be
sounds like someone's going to be mean to your mom, Coop.
It's going to be a play. It's going to be a play on a play where they'll know that it's inspired by it, but it's not quite. It's not quite the same.
Change the name.
It's going to be
Death of a Sales Boy.
Sorry, Billy Lowboy is the main character.
All right, Coop, you were taking the writing and performing a 3-hour play with Daniel Jones to win a Tony Award, which you've told us you're clearly just going to rip off Death of a Salesman. Simon, you were teaching calculus to Gronk via the WWE, just tricking him into learning. Classic. What's the name of that? I'm just a Bill. What's the name of that series?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. Regular old Schoolhouse Rock over here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no one's gonna teach poor sweet Mac Jones how to play the oboe.
What's the Oh my God, there were some junction. What's your function?
Bangers, dude, absolute bangers, bro.
Maria in the chat said, I'll pick teaching Gronk calculus, and I'll just train him with Skittles. Every time you get something right, I think I can do it.
I was thinking you would have to train him like Billy Madison style with like the boobs. And
I think tequila shots. I think Maria's onto something. But your lessons can only do 3 things right before you have to go on to the next lesson. But like the 4th thing right pushes him over the edge. But after 3 tequila shots, Gronk is in prime calculus learning mode. That's when his brain works best.
That's when he unlocks the beautiful mind.
Illmind Jedi said, actually, I'll do the Tony Award. I made an entire musical play in my head based off of Kendrick Lamar's album Damn. I'm actually proud of it too, LOL.
Dang.
Damn, dude. So medical marijuana is legal where you live?
Or recreational.
The best part about this to me is the idea of Daniel Jones starring in a Kendrick Lamar musical.
He's Kendrick Lamar.
Love and Lust.
He plays Kendrick Lamar in My Jedi.
Daniel Jones as Kendrick Lamar in Damn the Musical.
Kendrick Lamar as Mr. Morale in The Big Steppers. Daniel Jones as Mr.
Daniel
Brown. Yeah.
Jones. Daniel Jones and the Big Trippers.
The big Daniel Jones and the Big Trippers. That's actually an amazing fantasy team name, by the way.
It's kind of a deep reference, but I like it. All right, guys, let's get into our next hypothetically prompt. You guys nailed that one. This next one. Would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed or dressed like Bill Belichick?
Also chronically underdressed. I've already been chronically. I was chronically,
not necessarily. There's some situations he might be overdressed.
I was chronically underdressed in my own house earlier
Orgy
this
and
year.
Palm Springs.
That time there was a 90% chance my neighbor saw my wiener. Oops. That's a throwback to like the third show of this show ever, right? That was pretty early in the run of this show.
I think it was
How
first week.
underdressed? Because it just said chronically. It said the time. So I'm assuming every time I'm a little underdressed. But like, am I wearing my jean jacket to a wedding, or am I showing up in a like a undershirt and boxers to a wedding?
It depends on the event you're going to, but you are appropriately or relatively underdressed compared to that event.
So maybe
it
if it's like
equally across each of these options here. So
if it's like black tie, I'm like business casual. If it's like business casual, I'm like just casual. And if it's casual, I have a tube sock on my penis.
It's not always it's not always an equal step down like that though.
Okay.
It's just like it's gonna be if you go the underdressed option, it's always gonna be under to some degree. You don't know
look
what.
bad. So like if I say I go to a water park, right? Like it's not necessarily that I'm naked, but like I could be wearing like sweatpants, which makes me look even worse almost.
Yeah, you're way underdressed
You're better off being naked.
Honestly, Coop, I don't know. You kind of found a loophole there. I don't know how to answer that. How do you be underdressed at a pool?
Hogs out,
I think
boys.
you're naked. Yeah, I think you're naked. I think you answered
I already
your
said
own
it.
question.
Tube sock on the penis, and that's all you got
okay.
with a rubber band. That's underdressed at a.
Let's
swimming pool.
look at the other side, like in terms of overdress. Like I'm trying to figure
I
out
wasn't done
what.
talking about tube socks on penises. Coop.
Go on.
Please don't interrupt.
Okay,
I
I'm done. I'm done.
apologize. Go on.
Talk about where you're going to put your tube sock if you're overdressed.
So if I'm just trying to gauge the level of embarrassment for being overdressed. So like, let's say I'm going to a 8-year-old's birthday party. That's just your typical backyard summer party with like
There's a moon bounce.
and there's a clown, and nobody really likes the clown. They're like, why is there a clown here? This is stupid. So what would I be wearing to something like that?
Something like that, I'd have to assume you'd be wearing a 3-piece suit.
Vest?
That's what 3-piece means.
Oh, is that what the third piece is? Is the vest? I thought it was the shirt
Now-
underneath.
Now, is this what I'm wondering is
All suits have the shirt underneath.
No,
what I'm wondering
I'll show you after this break a suit with no shirt underneath.
Gardner Minshew.
what I'm wondering is like, what's going to get me into more trouble? Like, if I show up to a funeral, like obviously we know underdressed is a bad look, but like
You're showing up to the adult kickball league and in your nice dress shoes.
top hat. Yeah. So, but if I show up to like a
Monocle.
funeral, like how overdressed to the funeral, I'm wearing like something like flashy.
You're wearing like a royal outfit.
I just
You have like a
bright purple.
peacock feathers behind you attached to your back as just a statement piece.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
you go
more-
like full fashion week.
Just as a sidebar, what's more disrespectful, going to a funeral and like making it all about yourself, or going to a funeral wearing like a jean jacket with like cut off sleeves?
Here's where I'm gonna go. I think it shouldn't matter if someone wears jeans to your funeral. I think if someone wears jeans to your funeral, it should not matter. If someone shows up to your funeral and tries to make it all about themselves, that's the much bigger. I would be way more embarrassed to have people think I was trying to show everyone up at a funeral than have them think, oh, he can't afford a suit, or oh, he doesn't care enough to put a suit on. Like I would much
know
rather
that those are
people think
mutually
that.
exclusive. Maybe the person wearing the jeans is trying to show everyone up.
I mean, but okay. I mean, you can
Look
add
at
all
me.
you can continue to
Look at
add
my
stipulations
jeans.
all you want to this. But I'm saying for me personally, like if I see someone in jeans, I'm assuming, oh, like they just didn't dress up. But if I see someone who's like wearing like a white dress to someone's wedding, that's a megalomaniac. That's someone who wants that event that's not about them to be about themselves. Whereas I see someone roll in like jeans and a Hawaiian shirt, I'm thinking, oh, they should have just hung out.
I'll tell you, I've actually shown up overdressed to a wedding within the last year, where my wife texted the bride and was like, "What should Andrew wear?" And she was like, "Oh, it's like dress to impress." And Kate was like, "So he should wear like a tux?" And she was like,
Dress
"Oh my,"
for the job you want.
she was like, "Oh my God, yeah." And I like get there, dude, and not only the groomsmen weren't even dressed up that much, but like every other person there was wearing like a bowling shirt, and I'm like, and it wasn't even a big wedding either. So I've
I
done
don't
that.
think you were the weird one there.
I don't think I was the weird one. And at that same wedding, the maid of honor broke her femur dancing to "Turn Down for What." So it was a pretty awesome wedding. So
DJ Snake.
Oh yeah, it was DJ Snake. I thought she was doing the worm, but she had a broken femur. So it was pretty wild wedding. And I will say that I was able to get away with it. So I think my ability to get away with being overdressed, for me personally, in my persona, works better for me than showing up underdressed, because I do not like being embarrassed. I'll tell you right now. One of my least favorite things, which is why this show, especially that stupid fast time quick guy segment, drives me nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and say overdressed and just see if I can get away with showing up to people's funerals just like a sultan or whatever comes along with it. I'm not dressing like Bill Belichick. It's ridiculous. It's inappropriate for most situations. It's inappropriate for a football game, right? Like it's inappropriate for the one thing it's even supposed to be for. Just imagine the rest of things. You know what I mean? You look like an idiot.
All right, so you're going with overdressed, Simon. What about you?
I'm going the other way because
Belichick, the thing he wears, it's not even a real article of clothing. No one's wearing this. Like, you know what I mean?
You have to make it every
3/4 sleeve sweatshirt. That's not even a real thing in any circumstance. So yeah, I can't be wearing that.
No, Bill Belichick is off the table. I can't just be wearing a Bill Belichick cosplay for the rest of my life at all times. Like, that's not what I'm rolling with. I can't show up overdressed. I'm showing up underdressed to all things, because if people are going to judge me or don't like me for being slightly underdressed, then I don't want them in my life anyways. They are classist, they are materialistic, and they are hateful to others based on appearance, and I'm not rolling that way.
And they're mean.
And they're nasty and mean.
Yeah. I like that answer, Simon. I like it. Well done, both of you guys. We have one more hypothetically prompt. Before we get into that, though, Scott Fish said, I just looked up moon bounce, and one of the first Google drop downs says, who says moon bounce? And it came up with that it's a common name for those in Virginia and Maryland. I wasn't even the one that said moon bounce.
But I did not say either. I think Simon did.
I've never heard of any other phrase to refer to it.
What are they called?
So
bounce house, bouncy house,
big bouncies, and then
big
Scott
bouncies.
Scott came in and clarifies that apparently carnivals used that name to capitalize on the USA moon mission way back in the day. Carnival.
That makes sense. Like, come do the moon bounce.
USA.
The Moreau, you know.
It's like being on the moon.
That's kind of crazy.
Bounce house is what I go by, I believe.
Also, I feel like what Scott Fish just described happens to me all day, every day, where it's like, who says moon bounce? And then I just go down a rabbit hole of looking up the history of moon bounces.
I hate when that happens, but I love it so much. I'll Wikipedia one thing, and then I'm like, oh, that led to this. Oh, that. And then, like, all of a sudden 3 hours have passed and I've learned nothing of value.
Right. And then I need to tell my wife what I learned. And she's like, all right. Scott says, Coop, come to my funeral wearing whatever you want. Well, since you're a Vikings fan and I'm an honorary temporary bandwagon Vikings fan, I would probably show up wearing a Jared Allen number 69 jersey, the Sacks Master.
I think we're all going to wear boots.
I hope that's respectful.
Yeah, we all wear walking boots. Everyone shows up in
both legs.
Yeah, double walking boots walking in.
I stand with Scott Fish.
I sit with Scott Fish.
I sit with Scott Fish.
Crutches. All right,
Fish.
Yeah.
All right, well done, guys.
I think we settled that.
All right, your last hypothetically prompt. Buckle up for this one, boys. You're showering in the Vikings practice facility locker room after what turned out to be a real physical game of Foursquare with some fellow players and their teammates. You think you're all alone when you hear a sound of thong sandals dragging on the floor coming towards you.
Oh, no.
You start to make out a smiling face from the dark shadows of the corner of the locker room. It's a smiling face of America's bowl of heart-healthy grits, Kirk Cousins. He steps into the shower wearing nothing but a towel, thong sandals, and a chain necklace made out of tinfoil. You can sense that he wants to tell you something, He's just trying to build up the courage to do it. Finally, he turns to you and he says, "Hey, man, I know we're on like the same team and everything, but I was just wondering if I could ask you something. It's a little embarrassing. I've only really shown my wife." He steps out in front of you and drops his towel, giving you a front row seat to his pink, shriveled, childlike swimming trunks. And he says, "So what do you think? What do you do?"
First step, we're in the shower. This is a sports team. Hog's out. We're not having this conversation in the shower of a sports locker room after a professional football game. Hog's in. We're brothers on this football team. We can handle it. That's step one. No, he's pantsing himself because this is a circle of trust in this shower right here. I'm pantsing myself. I'm not even saying a word. And he's looking at me. He goes, "I got it." And then with the water flowing over us,
So you're wearing pants.
Hairs,
You're also wearing pants when he walks in?
under my towel, of course. Yeah.
And you're showering fully with the towel and pants underneath. So he says, "What do you think?" And then you just pants yourself.
Well, he's my quarterback. I have to wait until he takes his pants off before,
As-
or at least
as-
that's the idea.
As is tradition.
As tradition.
Yes.
Everyone gets in the shower and they wait for the quarterback to take his pants off.
Quarterback
Yes,
shows
pants
up,
pecking order.
pants come off, then everyone else's hogs come out. And then we can have a conversation about his pink, shriveled, undersized bathing suit. But it's got to be hogs out
Trousers.
first. Coop, I don't know if you agree with that, but I can't imagine having that conversation hogs in.
Well, for me personally, my hog's out. My hog's out. It's flying around, right? We're making it happen. And
like everywhere? Is it?
It's just
Are
it's
you
pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much.
have it under control?
Slippery.
Yeah,
in
let's just
there.
say it's
Got a Gronk copter?
it's right at the edge of being out of control, let's say. It's Gronkoptering. It's all happening. It's all happening. It's a spectacle. But in this situation, I would imagine that I'm one of his wide receivers and I'm vying for his attention. I want to be his best friend. I want the breakfast narrative. So he turns to me, says that. I turn back to him, and I smile at him with my grill made of tinfoil on my teeth. And I say to him, "You know what, Kirk? I was boiling some steaks the other day, and I couldn't help but think of the Lord's scripture. And it talked about how much manna is enough manna for a day. And I know you said you only need enough manna for one day, which apparently is $40 million a year guaranteed. And I think you deserve it." And at that point, we would both drop our pink, wrinkled, tiny little bathing suits.
You have the same bathing suit?
Oh yeah, of course. I pretty much everything I do would be based on what he does because I want those targets. I want those targets. I want those targets, baby. And we just wash each other's backs and talk about the luxury of having a heated garage in a cold Minnesota night. And hopefully I get a couple extra passes that day. And then
Done, guys. Nothing to add. You guys nailed it.
And then instead of using towels to dry off, we would just gritty our way over to the lockers and get changed.
You both slip and fall.
We both slip because we cannot gritty.
Covered in soap.
We absolutely cannot gritty. So we both slip and get hurt. And I go on the IR.
The final step
anyway.
The final step in mine after hogs are out, we haven't even discussed, is Coop, you inspired me. I'm unlinking his tinfoil chain and I'm putting it around both of our necks. And then I'm going to whisper to him, "With brothers like us, we don't need swim trunks." And then we walk out of the shower together.
Brothers got a hug.
You go face to face with him.
Frank the Tank said Simon Scenario sounds like something from Blue Mountain State. Yeah, I may have watched a little bit too much Blue Mountain State in my day.
And Jedi said, "Request a trade."
That's the trade. Probably what you should do. Yeah, you just it's dark, and you see him smile, and there's a glint of light just hitting his tinfoil grill. And you know it's him.
He just winks.
Like, "Kirk, take the grill out."
Did you guys hear what he?
Not
what he
no
said?
grills in the shower.
When he had when he had all the chains on, he had all these dentists from Minnesota reaching out to him, being like, "Oh, I can get you a grill by the end of the week, like no charge." Did you not hear that?
Oh my god!
He said that he had multiple when the chain picture went out. He said he had multiple people hit him up telling him that they could have him a grill by the end of the week.
That's awesome.
I wish you, man. If he was an ounce of fun, he would have got that. He would have taken them up on that.
Here's what I saw a TikTok yesterday where T-Pain was talking about this. One time he was at a concert and he had the chain on, and a fan down there like yelled to him, "I bet you won't buy a big ass chain that says big ass chain." And so he's got this chain on. The pendant on the end of it is legitimately this big, covered in diamonds, and it says big ass chain. And he spent
What's an ass chain?
$400,000 on that chain.
T-Pain had it?
Yeah. He's got to sell it to he's got to sell that to Kirk Cousins. That's where I'm going here. Kirk Cousins is going to buy it because he said now it's probably only worth $200,000. I can't get rid of it. I regret ever buying it. I let one fan talking trash to me in the crowd make me buy $400,000 piece of jewelry to prove a point to a man I never saw again in my life.
That's so funny. It comes. I just Googled big ass chain
story.
T-Pain, and it says the first thing that comes up is a video of him on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God, and the title is T-Pain says big ass chain was a huge mistake. That is so.
He's got to ship it to Kirk Cousins at this point.
Kirk Cousins says full set of grills was a big mistake.
He only spent
wanted his teammates to think he was cool.
Did not work. Plan backfired immediately. No one thinks I'm cool. No one takes their pants off in the shower with me anymore after I bought the grill. Everyone leaves their pants on, even when I dehog.
Dehog.
Dehog sounds. That's not what I was trying to say there.
That sounds terrible.
No, that sounds bad.
Guys, coming up, we are going to go through some Dear Diarrhea, teach you some lessons that we've learned throughout the season this year. Maybe football related, maybe not, maybe life related. We're going to play a new game we call One Word at a Time. Coop's going to interview an expert, giving you guys the answers that you need to hear. And then we're going to go through the playoff matchups as well here. If you're enjoying what we do in the mornings from 7 to 10, make sure you head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Hit that subscribe button. Hang out with us during our other shows as well. We'd love to have you over there. Right now, though, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
And follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Can't Miss Mitch is hanging out with Rick Camley here. He's with Roster Watch. I want to let you know something here, my friend. I'm a listener. I'm a seeker of knowledge, okay? And I know it sounds cheesy if I said I'm a seeker of wisdom, but I am. And Mitch, I've learned a lot from our interviews here on Better Sports Network. Because what you just said is something that I've had to work through in my dome. This has been my first time with a full-time gig in the betting space, right? I've dabbled in it, I've bet a million times, but as a on a huge platform here with the betting analysis. And so I'm learning, I'm evolving, I'm accumulating information and wisdom. And through what you've been telling me, trust the data, right? It's been like working on me. And a lot of times I talk my way out of a winner, Mitch. And it's about just trusting, like, okay, so if I got a vibe on a player in a big time basketball game and it's a superstar showdown and all this kind of stuff, and I have a predetermined vibe, and I go in and I look, and every single indicator that I look at is under. Why am I going to go over? Just follow the numbers and listen to the data. And guess what, Can't Miss Mitch? I have been doing that, and I've been missing on a lot of NBA props because of blowouts, load management, and all that stuff. Is that a complaint? But I've hit a couple of unders recently that didn't feel good, Can't Miss Mitch, right? They didn't feel good at all.
Unders never feel good.
They don't feel good, but I said all of the trends say under, so I'm going under, and I hit on them both. And I literally thought of you when I hit on those, man. But this is really sound advice for everybody out there, isn't it?
It really is, and sometimes it's hard. If you want to gamble. That's when you can do dumb It really is. Have fun at the roulette table. That's gambling. If you want to actually try and have sustainability, sports betting, you've got to have a system that's backed by data. And you've got to find the data that correlates to scoring points and what the opposing points are going to score against them as well. It's not hard. All the data's out there. You've got to just play with the numbers, and you got to continue to stick with that system, back test it, play with it, and then you're a sports bettor. You're not gambling.
Talk sports with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Better Sports Network.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We got the Hogs in the house, baby.
He said Hogs in the house.
Immediately what came to mind when I said that was the Nicki Minaj song Bees in the Trap, but remixed for us. We got the Hogs in the house. Hogs in the house. Piggies ain't shit and they ain't say nothing.
What about the beat to that song, the wet ass pussy song? There's some hogs in this house. There's some hogs in this house. There's some hogs in this house.
I have a moment, that song, there's like a specific moment in my brain. I fell asleep in my house. My girlfriend had a bunch of her friends over for a Halloween party. And it was me and like two of the other boyfriends. And they were going wild. It had been a full day. We started at like noon. And so by like 7 p.m., I don't know, the dudes got tired. And we were sitting on the couch like playing video games or something. All of a sudden, before I know it, I don't even remember us deciding, all of us are asleep on the couch. And I wake up and my girlfriend and all of her friends are standing on all of the surfaces in our house, on the breakfast bar, on the kitchen table, on the living room table, like 10 feet in front of me. And everyone's dancing to WAP. WAP is just blasting at top volume. And I just like opened my eyes, looked around and was like, I'm going back to sleep. I just closed my eyes and was like, we're laying back down here.
I forgot that I could have called it by its acronym instead of saying the real and kind of disgusting name of the song.
Yeah, you know the name of the song, WAP,
yeah.
The one that they used to refer to it.
Should have just left that.
Guys, we're about to get into a segment we call Dear Diarrhea, and I think Coops is the first one is to remember acronyms whenever they're useful for you. Use acronyms sparingly, but this segment is all about us sharing some lessons that we're going to write in our diaries. So in Dear Diarrhea, we write down lessons we've learned. We go through them with you guys, and we discuss what we've learned here. I've got one to kick us off if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
It's going to start specific, and then it's going to go a little bit more general. And this one, just heads up, is not fantasy football related. This is just one I've learned in recent times.
Ooh.
Dear Diarrhea, you can't hang your own gutters. Don't think you can. No matter what anyone tells you. Oh, it'll only take 45 minutes. Oh, it'll be easy peasy. That's something you can do in a weekend. Oh, like we got all the steps here listed out. You can't do it, okay? And if you can do it, it's going to take you a couple $100 more than you thought it was going to. It's going to take you weeks and weeks to even figure out the steps necessary to get them up there. And in the end, you're going to have shitty gutters. They're going to look like shit. They're going to be angled the wrong way, and the water's not going to drain out properly, but they're up. The more extended version of this is that home repair project. If there's more than one thing that you've never done before on it, call a freaking professional. If it's one thing, like, oh, I've never puttied this hole, but I have sanded. I know how to sand. I know how to nail. Like, okay.
Oh, I've never disassembled an entire washing machine.
Exactly. Like if there's one YouTube video that will show you how to do it, fine. But if it's going to take more than one, if you have to learn multiple new things, if you have to learn how to use a new tool and a new skill, and it's something that your house is going to rely on to function or for its value, call a professional. Don't do it yourself.
Can I back up a second here?
Yeah.
To what you're talking about, the YouTube video, YouTube video telling you how to do this. Why is it always the same guy that makes every single one of those home improvement YouTube videos?
Hey, y'all, Frank here. Going to show you how to change your lug nuts in your 2007 Hyundai Accent.
You can get all your parts here on frankshardware.com.
Hyundai, Kia. He's because he knows, and you can trust him, right? Everyone knows that YouTube guy. Nobody knows.
He's been on YouTube.
You can't just make a one-off video, right? Because nobody trusts you. They don't know you.
He's not worried about YouTube Shorts.
No. And speaking to what you said, JL, like taking apart your dishwasher, I believe you said, like that. I actually learned this many years ago with a N64 controller. It's not the taking apart that is the difficult part. It's
actually quite easy.
It's incredibly easy to take things apart. It's the putting back together part that's tough.
So many screws.
Make sure you plan
so
back.
Many pieces.
You just can't throw it all in a big pile and be like, that's a puzzle for me for later.
I have to like lay it out across the room, like the
exactly.
the nut and the screw.
Here's another little mini tip. There are way more pieces inside of an N64 controller than you think.
And there will always be less after you fix it.
Yeah, that's like when I put my laptop back together and I've got 4 screws left over, and I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
those went somewhere.
You weren't in there before. Where'd you come from?
So careful with that business.
That's a good sound. That's a good one,
Yeah.
Simon. I think that we all go through that exact realization with any home improvement project.
At this
After
stage,
You
10,
should have seen
12
us.
months.
My neighbors, like my girlfriend and I, put on a show for them this weekend, hanging up the gutters because we didn't have a ladder tall enough at first before we went and rented one. So what we're doing, you see, Leanne, my
Just
girlfriend,
up on the ladder
standing on the top rung of a ladder, unable to see where she's drilling and unable to hold on to anything because she has to hold it. And then me standing on a step stool next to her, just bear hugging her, trying to hold her to the ladder so that she doesn't fall. It didn't work. Then they saw us try to climb on the roof and realized it was much too slanted for us to sit up there and drill the gutters in. And then a 30-foot gutter piece that we thought geniusly, with 2 people, we can surely not only hold this 15 feet in the air to hang on to the house, but also drill it into place in one piece. And so we get up there and it falls and breaks in half and it's going everywhere and pieces are bending and
Water
metal
all
is
over
ripping.
you.
Well, there was no water.
Pouring rain.
You know, the gutters don't come with water.
I want to visualize
T-shirts
it.
all
I want to
wet.
visualize this, Simon. During this, were you chuckling at
Crocs?
all,
Yeah.
or were you just very serious?
It started out very chuckly.
Oh no!
3 hours in,
How quickly did you channel all that anger towards Leanne?
no, I never got
That's
channeled
what-
towards
that's the
Leanne.
only
How
place-
quickly did you
that's the only
turn on
place
your
to go.
partner to? Yeah.
Leanne and I made a deal before we went outside. I looked at her and I said, "Hey, Leanne, this probably isn't going to go well. Like, I'm just going to say that right here. Like, all the evidence we have is that hanging these gutters is
All
not
the names
going
I
to
call
go
you,
well."
I don't mean.
No. So here's the deal. No matter what, we are nice to each other during this process. We do not turn on each other during this process because it is not going to be fun.
Everything-
and, you know,
Fine, I love you.
we did a pretty good job. We had to take 1 or 2 breaks. Like, hey, you want to go sit down inside for 10 minutes while I handle this next step? Yeah, I'll go sit down inside. I'll go get a sip of water, a break. But that's the key. You gotta get on the same team as your partner, whether it's your spouse, your building partner, a buddy, some guy from down the street who's helping you out.
Teammate.
That's your teammate for this project.
Having a side hustle really helps you realize whether or not you should do the project or not. I realized that back when I first started writing articles where I was like, well, I could do this job and technically I'm paying myself X amount per hour to do this, or I could pay somebody that knows how to do that. And while they're doing that, I'll go write an article and then I'll get paid for that. And I'll do something I know how to do, right? Like the side hustle helps you gauge whether or not you should be doing things on your own or whether somebody that knows how to do it
How
should
much
be doing
supervision
Yeah.
you need.
Like,
You say
so that's the thing.
supervision.
Yeah.
I said supervision, but Coopervision is a way better.
Well, think about it. If you're going to pay somebody $100 to do something or $200 to do something, and then it takes you, 10 hours.
What if you're paying them 800?
If you're paying them $800 to do it, then
Yeah. Would you
if
do
that's that's going to take multiple days then, because I'd rather pay myself $800 or $800 for however many days to do it myself.
Okay,
if I
but you
can.
really don't want to.
If I really don't want to, dude, the rule of thumb is if I really don't want to do something, I'm not going to.
My favorite
Nice.
thing to spend money on is convenience. Like, I don't need a ton of things. I like soda, but I don't want to spend all my money on it. Pokemon cards are cool. I like it, but convenience, just giving me some of that time is invaluable to me. So I'm all about paying a professional to come in and do it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll take it. There's a crack in my ceiling. I'll go putty it and sand it and paint it. No problem. Like, but if it's something like hanging gutters specifically, I'm never doing that again. I'm not doing it. I'm bringing a professional in.
Shouldn't have did it the first time.
I know. I'm fully aware, and that's where this deer diarrhea came from.
It's a good one, Simon. It's a very good one.
What do you guys got for me?
I have a fantasy football related one. If you guys want to do football talk,
Let's
and I
hear
think this is the perfect time of year for this particular diary entry. This is what I think everybody should do. I've done it in the past in some of my leagues, and I have new leagues that I need to do it for, which is after the fantasy football season ends and it's all fresh in your mind, you should take a second to make this diary entry. You should say, "Dear Diarrhea, in my league with Simon and JL and Tommy and Illmind Jedi and Frank the Tank and
Frank the
Keith
Tank.
and Earn Dog, I realized that only
Our
Keith
dog just woke up.
and Frank the Tank trade in this league. Only those guys were willing to make trades. I sent offers to every single person in the league. I didn't even get texts back from these 5 guys. And guess what? We've been in a league together for 10 years, and Tommy hasn't made a trade.
Deadeye?
Yeah, no, this is a hypothetical. Say, Tommy, like, so in your home league, you say you've been in a league with these guys for 10 years. Go back and look. If a dude hasn't made a trade in like 9 years, then
He's probably dead.
Stop sending that guy. He's probably dead. You should probably check on him. Call his family. Maybe see if they need any help.
They're like, oh my God, he's been dead for 3 years. Why didn't you tell us earlier?
Right? No wonder. Like, I thought he just didn't like my trades. Right? Then you could feel better about you feel better about yourself knowing that he's dead. So
now he doesn't know I'm an asshole.
Right. Now you're like, oh geez, I thought it was my trades the whole time. He was just dead in his apartment with no one around to care about him or love him. So, that's a plus for you. Phew. Right.
So break out the jean jacket for the funeral.
See, dude, go back and look, especially these leagues you've been in for a long time. Stop wasting your time sending trades to people who don't trade. Focus on the people who do trade, especially the people that make bad trades. You shouldn't feel bad about trading with people that make bad trades, because guess what? Some other dude in your league is going to benefit from those trades. So you got to be in on that. Same thing goes for the draft. If a dude in your league has gone 0 RB every single year since Scott Siegel wrote the article 0 RB Fragility in 2013, guess what? That dude's probably going to go 0 RB again, and you can plan around it. Steven Seagal wrote it, dude. Yeah, karate expert Steven Seagal wrote a 0 RB article. He's an expert on pretty much everything. So
Simon, you know who Steven Seagal is. Don't Google it, Simon. I know you're Googling it. Don't do it.
I have a guy pictured in my head. Okay. I have a guy pictured in my head. He's an asshole, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like a big mega asshole, like this huge beefy.
What does he look like?
He's like round but of muscle, but there's like the ultimate. He's like this big beefy, looks like a overstuffed sausage, overdone karate guy with dark hair.
What does his hair look like?
Dark, short.
Nah, he doesn't know. That was the test.
Ponytail
you need ponytail. Ponytail is a big part of it.
Also, very, very fixated on sausage. I'm not sure where that came from, but
he seems like a good try. Guy.
It's a good try. Steven Sausage. Maybe it's this Seagal.
Yes. Anyway, that should be your entry. Go back now while it's fresh and make notes on your league and the tendencies in your league and your league mates and yourself. Think about where you went wrong. You know what I mean? Think about the specifics of your league. Like, if the same dude has won the league or come in first or second every single year, go back and look at his teams. One time I did that in one of my leagues, and I realized that the defensive scoring was a mess. Defenses were getting tons of points, and this dude was drafting the first defense every single year. And the next year I came out and I drafted the second defense right after he took one, and right now I was in the mix. And then what I did is I said, hey, the defense's scoring is messed up in this league, and everybody agreed except that one kid who had been taking advantage of it for multiple years. Look at your league, figure out why you're losing, make those notes now, because you're not going to remember. And then come next year, use it to your advantage. That's the diary entry everyone should be making right now. The season just ended just now. Get in there.
It's such a good call out, Coop. This is a game of cognitive biases. This is a game of decision making, right? And with decision making, you got cognitive biases, and this is how you counteract them, because your brain's going to be lying to you. It's going to tell you that you were in on Trevor Lawrence the whole time. You were in on Marquise Brown the whole time. You were in on Devontae Adams the whole time. But your brain is a freaking liar.
Right.
You weren't in on them, right? Because we're not all right all the time. And so you got to be able to navigate those cognitive biases, because the best fantasy players, they know how to handle that. And it goes perfectly into my next Dear Diarrhea entry here. Which is this is a game of playing players. Like, don't worry about playing the game as much, because it's hard to win at the game. Play the players. And it's kind of a similar motif that I brought up in previous Dear Diarrhea entries. But a good example of this, I read stats, take even more advantage of weeks 1 through 3, those overreactions. Same type of vibe here is people, they forget, right? They forget. They're like, oh no, week 1, Michael Carter, he got all the carries. Breece Hall is a bust. Don't worry about that. Stay true to your Dear Diarrhea entries.
Yeah, I don't mind that, JL. Now, you got to be careful. There are situations. It's hard sometimes to describe the context. There are situations where week 1 disproves something, but more often than not, it's just a 1 week sample size. But there are questions where you have like, who's going to be the wide receiver 1? And maybe we get some more clarity week 1, but 100% like people overreact hardcore to what's going on in week 1. And if it's a guy that has the talent, has the situation, and it just doesn't show up in week 1, none of the other factors went away. You know what I mean? If week 1 didn't disprove the things that made you want to draft that guy, go and try to trade for him. Don't let all of that work you did in the offseason go to waste, because I know the people listening here are probably already putting in the work for next football season. They're already looking at rookies. They're already researching. It's January 11th. Exactly. At 8:30 in the morning. This is the squad that's already putting that work in. Don't let that work go to waste after 1 week because you're overreacting to what's going on in those games.
Yeah. Coop, to another one I wrote down that's kind of similar. You're just like, I wrote down, map out your strengths and weaknesses of your teams, of not only your teams, but your opponent's team, especially in dynasty leagues at this time. It's a really good way to get an edge and figure out a strategy. It goes very much into what
running backs here. I didn't realize my running backs were aging out of relevancy, and now this team is in trouble.
Right.
And I talk about this all the time. Play to your strengths. Go back, even in your redraft, and look and see, like, some people are just good at certain positions, right? Like, and it goes to, like, every position is different in how they produce. Like quarterbacks, it's about their talent, other people's talent. Running back, it's about their talent, but also the team. Wide receivers, they create targets for themselves a lot of times, regardless of quarterback. Tight end is a bunch of different stuff. If you're good at finding one position, like if you go back and look at one of your leagues and say, okay, I drafted really well at wide receiver. I added a bunch of really good wide receivers, and all year long, basically, I didn't have running backs or anything else, but I just had tough decisions for myself at wide receiver. So because I was so good at finding them, use that to your advantage. Next year, draft running backs and everything else heavily and lean into your ability to find those wide receivers. So go out and take those notes too. Make sure you know your own strengths, right? And same thing with, knowing your opponents, know yourself too. So get in there, make some notes now. Now's time.
And while we're talking notes you should take a peek back at some of your strongest takes from before the season started as well. And if they hit, figure out, did they hit because of the reasons you thought they were going to? And if they missed, figure out what the reasons were, why it didn't happen the way you thought it would. I know for me, I'm going to be taking a much deeper look at what went down with Darnell Mooney in the games he was playing this year, because I thought there was a big step coming forward. I'm going to take a look at what went down with Josh Jacobs, because I was in on Josh Jacobs, but not to the level of which he succeeded. I want to see what happened that drove him to that success. And was it the reasons that I thought it was going into the season? Because maybe not for Josh Jacobs, if he's switching teams, is that going to give me an edge? But if I can identify the situation that led to his success this year, that might help me in identifying next year's Josh Jacobs, that 4th round running back that's going to be a top 5 guy most of the year.
That's such a good point, Simon. There's a book puts this idea into perspective. It's a book on decision making from a former professional poker player, Andy Duke, who talks about innovating in bets and thinking in bets. So like making decisions based similar to how poker players make decisions. And one of those things she talks about, like a good example of this is, let's say that someone puts money in on a stock, right, or they invest in a stock, it goes up. Well, our cognitive bias tells us that. Like what we tend to do is to say, oh, well, that was me. I saw that. Like, right. I saw this company. I thought they were good. I invested in this company and it went up because I saw that. When the opposite outcome happens and it doesn't go right, people tend to blame other circumstances, the market, injury, things like that. Injury. I mixed the two analogies there, but the market, the market wasn't good, or this company didn't execute well, or this, that, or the other.
The CEO tweeted something really stupid.
Exactly. And her whole point is like, instead go back and look at why why the outcome happened and try and dissect that. Don't get too attached to the outcome. And she uses examples like Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl, for instance. People give him a ton of grief for that Super Bowl decision to pass it, and it got intercepted years ago. That actually was a smart move. It actually was a smart decision to make. The outcome just wasn't there.
People hate to hear that. They hate the analytics
They hate the
analytics talk. No. Get your nerd shit out of my football. I hate to tell you guys, but it's here. Nerd shit is in football, and it's not leaving.
It's here, dude. It's messing with baseball pretty bad. That's for sure. The nerd stuff.
Victor in here saying, "Good morning, boys." What's up, Victor? He said 2 words.
What up, Victor?
Jalen Jurts.
Jalen Jurts.
Jalen Jorts. Oh man, now I'm thinking about Jalen Hurts and some jorts again. I know.
Do they
he looks
sell
good.
Eagles Jalen jorts? Because I feel like that's a gold mine.
And Nicholas said Michael Pittman hurt me bad this year. Me too. I had Pittman as a top 12 wide receiver. 13 actually. He was right outside of that top 12. He was until the last second, bumped him out of that top 12. But still, I expected him to be great this year. That's another player I'm going to be digging into this offseason because it's easy to just say, oh, the quarterbacks were bad. Oh, he had no quarterback thrown to him. But we've seen wide receivers find success with bad quarterback play, with bad coaches, with bad offenses. So I want to dig in a little bit more and see what's going on. Yeah, what caused this? Is it just his talent isn't quite there, or was there something else making it so he didn't find success?
How you beat 99% of the other jabronis out there is look beyond the surface, really, is what it comes down to.
It's true.
I have another Dear Diarrhea for us, if you guys don't mind.
Dear
My next Dear Diarrhea is when you promise you're going to do something, deliver on it. So I'm going to be opening this pack of Pokemon cards right now.
Yeah!
We've got the Pokemon Brilliant Stars pack that is
let me
about
see
to
it.
be
Let me see it
opened.
closer. I want to see it.
It's with Shaman,
nice.
the Sky form on it, on the front right there.
Some nice opening music. Oh, yeah.
And I do not know the order for these. There's an order
Careful.
where the rare shows up.
Careful with those. Hold
Here's
those by
what
the
we're going
edges.
to do.
What is it?
Looks like a
First
Magmar.
up, we have a Magmar.
Magmar.
Yeah. Slower.
Impidimp.
What'd you call it?
Is the Magmar rare? Is that a rare one?
No, that's just a common.
Okay.
Just a common. Most of these are going to be commons right here. We got
Call me
Axu.
impotent?
No, I called you an
Okay.
Impidimp.
What the heck's an Axu?
Axu. Oh, I love Axu.
I'm a
He's a
couple
little
games
dragon.
behind you guys. I really only know the.
I made Axu in the black and white generation. Not
Spiritomb.
Axers. Spiritomb. I don't know if I know that one.
Oh, I've seen that one. It's like a ghost Pokemon.
Big balls mechanical guy.
Big balls.
Yo, you gotta
guy.
slow down.
Clink.
Bro. Yo,
Clink.
producer Keith says slow down, dude.
Okay,
You gotta.
okay.
You're just ripping through them, dude. You gotta make it. You gotta make it dramatic.
Motion.
We've got Clink here, the steel type.
Clink.
Have
Clink
you ever
evolved
seen?
into-
Clankberry.
He evolves into Clink Clang.
Clink Clanksberry.
Yeah, give us some powers and stuff, dude. Like, haven't you ever seen an unboxing?
What's the stats?
I used to have an unboxing channel. Most people don't care about the commons.
I do.
Stats, it's a piece of shit. He's only got 50 HP and he can do 10 damage with his vice grip. So there you got your Clink Clang.
That's my favorite
Vice
one.
grip.
I don't know what
Up
kind of
next-
damage anybody else does.
What do we got here?
Is that a
What
pot?
this?
The
It is a
bucket?
pot helmet, is what it says. You know the common Pokemon?
Ah, pod helmet.
That's
guy,
is that
yes.
an item?
Pot helmet. This is what Illmind Jedi was
what-
wearing whenever he created the Kendrick Lamar musical. Did I beat you
Damn
to it,
you.
JL?
Yes.
What's that?
I hate when you do that.
What's that item do?
This item. Oh, and this is a reverse holographic. I don't know if you guys could tell. Outside of the picture is actually shiny. The picture's not shiny. And it says, if the Pokemon this card is attached to doesn't have a rule box, it takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon after applying weakness and resistance.
Wow.
So that's what we got here. Pod helmet.
What's his
This
name?
one's for you,
Pod
Illmind
helmet.
Jedi. And
That's not a Pokemon.
our rare. No hollows in this pack. We got Breloom as the rare.
Oh,
A
man.
non-hollow.
I think I
But I
just
do
caught
love
a Breloom.
Breloom. One of my favorite Pokemon. Fighting grass. I love the fighting other type combos in Pokemon. They're always so much fun.
Do you like fighting ghosts?
Oh, my next bookmark. I love using the energy cards as bookmarks. They're my favorite. And then we've got Magma
Lava?
Basin, which is where Coop lives.
That ain't no
And
Pokemon.
It is once during each player's turn, that player may attach a fire energy card from their discard pile to one of their benched fire Pokemon. And then Hitmontop.
Oh yeah, dude. I know that one.
You
I
know
know
him
some
on
of these
top?
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
And last
not
but
the
not
hit.
least, Luxio.
Oh, Luxray or what? Luxio.
It's the one that evolves into Luxray is what we got right there.
Nice.
And then I'll just put this up there. If anybody wants this card, because I don't play, there's the code. You can have it. I'm just going to put it on our YouTube. If anybody wants this free pack, you can redeem this on Pokemon.com. It's right there for you.
3 easy payments of $19.99.
What is that for?
It's
What's
the
that pack?
virtual game where you can open up their cards virtually and you get another pack. So every pack of cards comes with a virtual pack of cards.
That's tight. I didn't realize it was a virtual game too.
One day we should play Blades on this.
Blades. I have
Beyblades.
Beyblades.
We
One
should let it
time-
rip on the show.
One
That's
time
you
Leanne and I
better
did
hurry
the,
up and get that code in then, dude, because I'm trying to get in there right now, dude. Trying to get myself a Dratini.
my girlfriend and I did the Target date thing one time where like you go to Target and you pick out something that's their favorite color, something that you think they'd like, and for the something that we think each other would like, both of us independently got each other Beyblades without communicating about it. And so then we got home and had nice Beyblade fights.
That's
It was
who won?
Playmates.
What'd you say?
Who won the Beyblade?
Who let it?
Who do you think won the Beyblade contest? I don't need to brag, but I let it rip quite a bit in my day. I used to have the big computerized Beyblade spinner that had like the screen on it that would tell you like your speed that you pull that.
He does
and
it
all
like
that
way
stuff.
too hard. It flies off and hits Leanne in the eye.
You gotta scream. You have to scream when you do it too. Exactly, Joe. You gotta go, let it rip.
Snaps the plastic using the ER.
There's all sorts of Beyblade drama right now, if you guys are unaware of it. They made changes to the official competitive arena and now has a lip, which provides a further advantage to the attack type Beyblades where they were already overpowered. And so now the defense
Where'd
type
you find
Beyblades
this
are
info?
even more underpowered. My TikTok thinks I'm a nerd ass, so it just puts that kind of stuff in front of me. And it's right.
And
Because
you watch it.
and then
you
I
like
watched it and I looked up more
I'm like,
about
wow,
the
that's very
Beyblade
interesting.
saga. I wanted to know more about it.
That's like something I would read on that hobby drama subreddit and just
Yes,
like get so
100%.
deep into it and be like, oh my God, I'm so pissed. And then I look away from my screen for a second and I'm like, I don't play Beyblades. Like I go to my wife. I'm like,
I don't play, baby.
go to my wife. I'm like, Kate, you got to hear about the Beyblades. It's like, what the,
They
what the
added a
hell?
lip.
They added
Now
all-
everyone's upset.
What the heck are you talking about?
She's like, who you calling Beyblade?
Come here, Blade.
Dustin said, I searched for a long time for a left spinning Beyblade just to get more carnage.
Ooh.
They don't like the lefties?
I haven't hit that side of the hobby drama on Beyblades,
No,
but
you know who would have that is Belichick because he only has left-footed punters. Have you guys ever heard that?
No.
He only for the past like 15 years he's only gone with left-footed punters because the reasoning is pretty simple. He says the ball spins the other way, and there's so few left-footed punters, it gives you a slight advantage that when the ball comes down, the person catching it's spinning the other way than it usually spins. That's his only.
If you're Amber Lextrous.
I mean, it clearly doesn't mess up very many people, but he's still only lefty kick punters. You can check it out with Belichick. He's just like he's such a weirdo when it comes to that stuff.
Belichick's always looking for the tiniest little advantage, like every single time, just taking that little edge if he can.
Guys who cut their fingernails too
Yeah.
short.
Also, by the way, sorry, I said that he only employs them and says that, but they've asked him, and he says every time he says it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, of course he
Just a
says that.
coincidence.
That cannot be a coincidence.
It's like everything's a coincidence if you don't think
Right.
about it.
Oh, that's just a coincidence.
And War Chungus said left Beyblades can steal spin from right spinning ones. Belichick would definitely have one. He'd be out there with the left spinning
damn.
Beyblades.
I love just the general public's ability to twist any conversation topic steer it directly into cheating Patriots.
Right. It still makes
It's
me
like
laugh, dude.
a national skill.
Because nobody cares, you know what I mean? Nobody actually cares or believes that it matters. So it's just like it is funny to laugh about it. But he would definitely have some sort of cheating.
we
Beyblade.
are laughing.
Yeah, it is funny. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and then he's gonna deflate his Beyblade. Am I right or am I right, Coop?
Yeah. And then he's been watching tape of you playing Beyblades through your window all week. He had some guy like go, so he knows all your moves. He knows all the spins of your Beyblade.
Why is he watching that through your window?
Because it's got to be sneaky.
He's got to get video. He has to get a legal videotape of you practicing. That's
So he puts the videotape on the other side of your window and he watches through that.
I know he picks it up later. He picks it up later and then watches the video, or someone drops it off. He sends
through his window.
Bill Belichick has a clone in every city that just lays in stasis in a
How
tube.
do they tell the difference?
Well, they never leave that city. And he actually doesn't travel to coach the other games. He activates the clone. So the Bill Belichick in New England is the Boston Bill Belichick. He's not allowed to leave Boston, but there's one in every city, at least a 20-mile radius.
Whenever they're coaching.
Well, the problem is no one knows who the OG is anymore.
They've lost track.
They lost track of who the OG is. The paperwork's gone.
No,
there's a lot that have admitted they're clones. They know, but there's a solid 15 to 20 of these Belichicks that have no idea that they're clones.
Oh my God. This is a mess.
Yeah.
I know.
Where'd you put Steve on it?
I know.
The thing is, with his video of watching you play Beyblades, he has to fast forward through the 5 hours of you fumbling around in the yard trying to put gutters up.
No, he watches every single second of that and enjoys
He watches
it.
like a 3-hour block of Coop trying to say Beyblades.
This is why I only hire left-handed guys to hang my gutters.
Liam wasn't left-handed. That's the issue.
That was the issue. We had 2 righties trying to hang up some gutters when all we needed was a lefty.
Why can't you be better?
All we needed was a much taller ladder. Also, another pro tip, just going to throw this one out there.
Oh yeah,
if you're renting a 24-foot ladder from Home Depot, make sure your car can bring home a 24-foot ladder safely. And that you don't have to open your trunk and then hook the ladder around the headrest of your front seat so that it doesn't fly out the back with the 8 feet that it's already extending beyond your vehicle as you drive home on the interstate.
Oh, Simon.
So that's the other part of that tip.
Nothing more American than a random ladder on the highway. Erndog says always have to mark your clones. Rookie mistake.
How do you mark them, Ernie?
Yeah,
what's your go-to method?
Not branding.
You know what never works is the X on the forehead, because the clone, you know what I mean? Like they always
you circumcise all the clones, the original stays uncircumcised, and that's how you tell. Hogs out to get to the truth.
Gotta hogs out, dude. You got a Kirk Cousins clone. That's the only way to tell. Kirk Cousins clone in the shower wearing the shorts,
swimming trunks.
As coming up, we are going to hit a new segment we call One Word at a Time. Coop's going to interview an expert on multiple things over here. Then we've got some playoff matchups that we got to run through, give some predictions on what we think is going to go down this weekend and Wildcard weekend and beyond in the playoffs. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Bull moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing, shot to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Burley picks a perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the banking. They're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Laser catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Laser has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downey, swinging, there's a drive into left center field. That ball is gonna be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get into a new game that we call One Word at a Time. Coop is going to take over as the host here. JL and I are going to be playing in this game. And Coop, did you want to give us a rundown of how this game's going to work?
Yeah, so unfortunately, JL and Simon have to leave. I'm going to be hosting the show, and I'm bringing on a guest with me today. And he is an expert. This man, he very softly spoken, takes his time sometimes to say things. We would like him to speed up the way he talks, but he's a singular person and an expert on, you could say, potentially anything. So while we have this expert here, I'm going to ask him some questions. And I think that you in the chat, if you have questions to ask him, I would love for you to put them in there. And we'll ask this person what their thoughts are. I mean, this person, they can give you the answers to things. They can give you guidance on how to do things. Say you've got some homework you want them to do for you. Get it in here. So, this guy here, he's a genius, and I think you're gonna enjoy this fella. So why don't we get started here? Simon Jail, they had to take off, like I said. We've got the new expert here chatting with us. So let me just start by saying, how are you doing today, sir?
I
am
doing
very
poorly.
Sorry to hear that. Now, me being the seeker of truth, I will be the one that decides when I believe the expert is done giving their advice. So, expert, if it possible, just make sure you elaborate for as long and as fully as possible. And I'll say, hey, you know what? Thank you very much. That's enough. So yeah, why don't we get into it, guys? There's some big football games this week. This is a football show, so I'm not going to only ask you football questions, but I'm going to start by asking you one football question. The Seattle Seahawks, they have a very difficult matchup this week against the 49ers. 9.5-point underdogs in this game. Geno Smith at quarterback. They got some good players there, and they have a coach, Pete Carroll, an excellent coach. But, you being an expert yourself, what kind of a speech would you give the boys if you were Pete Carroll and you wanted to get them fired up to beat the 49ers this week? So you're sitting them down in the locker room and you want to get them all amped up and ready to rock and roll. What are you saying to these fellas?
Boys,
don't
think
about
how
big
Brock
Purdy's
balls
are.
Instead,
think
about
Russell
Wilson's
balls.
If
Russell
Wilson
can
morph
into
a
ball.
Boys, that would have me and Kenneth Walker and Tyler Lockett and the guys fired up to take this one down. You truly are an expert of all things. I mean, I didn't believe it at first when they had you on NPR and you gave your until you popped in and gave your theory of relativity. You broke down how atoms worked. You solved nuclear fission. I'm just glad we have you on the show to answer questions. You guys in the chat, if you have any good questions to ask this expert, I would love for you to pop in and jump in and ask him some. I have some myself that I've been thinking about. I mean, earlier on the show, there were a couple guys on here, Simon and JL. They're kind of weird, but I do love them, So I'm sad that you aren't here. They aren't here to be able to talk to you. They would probably have some good questions for you, but I have one that we talked about in the show that they'd probably be interested in. So we talked earlier about this rapper. I'm sure you're familiar with him. His name's T-Pain, and he bought a big ass chain for almost $500,000, and he regretted it. Now, you being an expert salesman yourself, could you give me a pitch that T-Pain could potentially use to sell someone his big ass chain?
Yes.
Of course.
I
can.
Here
I
go.
Perfect. Let's hear it, boys. So I'll be the prospective customer, and you. Why don't you just jump right into it and tell me and give me the pitch on why I should buy this big ass chain from you and Mr. T-Pain. I forget what it stands for. Tennessee Pain.
Tallahassee.
Listen.
You truly are an expert. All right, so get me in there.
Listen.
You
definitely
need
to
buy
this
big
ass
mother
trucking
chain
from
me,
T-Pain.
Wow, that actually rhymed and everything. That was a rap. I think since I got a personalized rap and I get this chain, I'm going to take it. Now, I want to remind you, sir, Mr. Expert, in all your infinite knowledge, I know in that particular one, you sold it to me very quickly, and it was a pretty easy sale, but I'll be the one to determine when the sale is done and when the wraps are done. So I don't want I don't want you to get too comfortable over there. All right, let's make sure that we take this one to the limit. Now we do have some questions that are coming into the chat here. For instance, Mr. Kevin Frank wants to know, since you are so smart and you're an expert on everything, where did you get your knowledge from?
My
knowledge
comes
from
the
butthole
that
I
emerged
from
at
birth.
Most
people
are
born
not
from
the
butthole,
but
I
was.
So whose butthole were you born from?
Quiet down.
My
mom.
Butthole.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Again, this is a football show. We do have a question from War Chungus in the chat. He wants to know where the quarterback Lamar Jackson is going to end up next year.
Oh.
He
will
not
go
to
macaroni
grill
anymore.
Wow. That
was
his
kryptonite. Well, that explains all the bowel issues that he was having, and the reason that he must have been struggling from too much macaroni grill. Maybe you guys should be his agent, since he apparently doesn't have an agent. His mother is negotiating his contract. Roquan Smith, in case you guys didn't hear, just got a massive contract. I wonder if Roquan Smith cut out the macaroni grill for his contract. Now, Tommy in the chat wants to know a bit of a philosophical question. I know you guys are experts on everything, so maybe you can get a little philosophical for us for a second. In what way do you guys believe that fantasy football is like real life?
Beautiful.
Life
is
just
like
fantasy
football.
You
can
get
a
job
in
fantasy
sports.
Then
you
are
living
fantasy
life.
My God, that was beautiful. That sounds like something Matthew Berry might say himself on his newsletter, Fantasy Life. Right? It does truly sound very well.
A little too well.
Wow, it sounded like JL was here for a second there. Maybe we have him call in.
Matthew Berry here.
There he is, dude. So inspiring. This is beautiful. Oh man. Well, now guys, I had a question for you guys. And again, obviously you guys experts on just about everything there is in the world. So, let's say for instance you were on a space mission and you were being shot in a rocket, and it just so happened that the planets and stars were aligned. So you get to kind of pass everything as you go by. So you are shot in this mission and you're just passing the moon, approaching Mars. Can you just give me a breakdown of when you look out the window? What do you see as you're cruising on out into space?
Nothing.
Will
Never
be
a
space
guy
or
girl.
Well, now I know that you wouldn't personally go, but since you're an expert on everything, you obviously know what's out there. So why don't you just give us a little rundown of what you would see as you're slowly moving away from the planet?
Space
snakes.
Space snakes.
Just shortly after Mars, or you just thank you guys. I think that's probably enough. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, expert, for coming on. This segment has been quite a treat. Really enjoyed learning from you guys. I mean, you personally as one singular person being an expert. So hopefully I'd like to have you back on soon. Unfortunately, we only have so many microphones. We only have 3, and Simon and JL did say they would be back. They both said they just had to go take a big, messy space snake. But they're back now. So I'm going to have you give your microphone back to JL and Simon if you could. Thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. So thank you. Oh, look. There they are, Simon and JL. And JL.
Wow, Simon, you look like a surfer boy. Just got out of bed.
Fancy.
What up, bro?
Man, bro.
Solid, dude.
Greek was my favorite movie, bro.
Yo, you guys just missed one of the greatest experts on just about everything in the world.
I just pooped my pants.
How'd that go?
Messy.
I was just cranking some sausage for about 20 minutes there is what I was doing.
Stop,
I don't know
dude.
what it is, Simon. I just can't take you seriously right now. You got a whole new vibe.
It's only slightly adjusted from where it was.
So distracting.
It's slightly adjusted, but you might as well be a different person.
I feel like I'm about to walk out on MTV's Next and be like, "What's up, guys? My name's Simon. I've never respected women in my life, and I live in the basement of somebody who doesn't know I live there. If this girl's not a solid 10, I'm calling next."
I feel like you're the supporting character on every Disney Channel original movie.
I'm the best friend. I'm the best friend.
The best friend in every single one.
Like the kind of clueless but innocent best friend. Like the guy who's just like,
"Oh, hey." Always there. Hey.
You're gonna have to surf that, dude, so that we can stay here on the beach, man. Otherwise, and dude, also that guy's trying to steal your girlfriend, bro.
Somehow your mouth is always open.
Yeah. Oh.
I end up saving the day, but I have no idea that I'm doing it in the moment. It's just like, oh no, my buddy needs me, and I run off and go.
The character only exists to save the dudes from writer's block. Like the moment you have writer's block, you're like, how's the main character going to get out of this? Oh yeah, wait a second, we have this character to do.
We got that clueless friend.
Chad more involved.
Yeah, come in and trip the bad guy last moment.
Whoa. What's up, NKC? Welcome back in. Glad to have you. You missed our fun little guest. We just played a game, but we have some playoff talk coming up next. We're going to talk through these wild card playoff matchups and beyond coming up shortly. Guys, if you're enjoying what we do here, make sure you head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Hit that subscribe button. Hang out with us some more over there. And if you hit that little notification bell, you won't miss any of the things that we're pushing out. Some shorts, some sexy shorts, some not so sexy shorts, and some awesome lives as well. But coming up, like I mentioned, we're going to talk playoffs. We're going to talk the matchups and who we think's making it all the way. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
And now Williams is down on the ground and a little slow to get up. And this is not what the Chargers wanted to see.
Hey, he should be fine to practice and X-rays were negative. The guy's still not 100% heading to the playoffs. That's the bottom line.
That line moved too, and I had talked about it on the Catch Up podcast with Howard when we go over the games. I said, look, you can't really bet the Chargers game until we know what happens in the Ravens-Bengals game. Well, you probably should have seen the telltale sign when no Lamar Jackson, no Tyler Huntley, no Mark Andrews. Okay, they're probably going to lose. We closed at Chargers plus 6.5. Chargers have nothing to play for yet. Their starters were in there. We saw Joey Bosa go down. Obviously, Mike Williams, and he struggled to even get on a card. Like, if there's anyone that you're going to protect, it's got to be Mike Williams. This guy's had a history of injuries, back issues. He's missed time this year. And we see how dominant he can be on the field and what he does for this offense. So I was surprised that he didn't take him out. And Bosa got banged up. You've had a lot of injuries this year. Herbert played almost the entire game. I mean, he had 37 pass attempts. I have no idea what he was doing. And Staley's a guy that doesn't play his guys in the preseason. Keenan Allen was in the whole way. I mean, if you had Keenan Allen in the Week 18 championship or played his props, you're loving it because he had 8 for 102 and 2 touchdowns and 11 targets. But man, I have no idea what Staley was thinking here when you have nothing to play for. Nothing. You're locked in.
Yeah, then pride, I get it.
No,
Pride.
I don't. I don't get it.
It's like when people have a lot of pride, it impacts their decision making, and it's stupid. It's stupid. Nothing to play for. What's the point? It's football. It's a contact sport. You bend one wrong way, you're out for a number of weeks. That's the problem, and that's what I didn't understand.
I'm telling you, Kansas City does not want to see the Chargers win. If Bills and Cincinnati handle the business, the Chargers win. Chargers go to Kansas City. I'm telling you right now, Kansas City does not want to see that. Chargers always play Kansas City well. They played them very close 2 times this year. And obviously, a play or 2 here or there, Chargers win that game. Kansas City does not want to see the Chargers. I'm telling you right now, they do not want the Chargers to win. That would be the worst matchup for them. And that's why, if you believe in the Chargers to reach the AFC Championship game might not be a bad bet if you think they can win this week, because I think they're going to give the Chiefs problems.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have a lot of weapons that they could turn to on the offensive end.
But they're still the Chargers.
Right.
And they always find a way. Trust me, I've been a sucker for the Chargers like the last 5 years, and every time they let me down.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We just said goodbye to our guest, the expert, just a general expert who came on and answered some questions for us. I'm sure he'll be back at some point to answer some more questions, but we're going to get into talking playoff matchups. How do you guys want to do this? Because I think it might be fun to run through and predict the playoffs. Each of us make predictions on each game, talk about what we think, and then load up that bracket, see where we have it going. And then we can keep track of it. We can keep track of it as we go through the season, go through these playoffs, and figure out who had the best bracket. You guys want to run through it a little bit?
I would like that very much.
Let's do it. Pull it up, guys. In the Wildcard weekend starts this weekend. We've got some killer matchups coming our way. The 2 teams on bye, the Chiefs and not the Bills. The Chiefs and the Eagles will not be playing this weekend. The other 12 teams in the playoffs facing off. Let's start on the NFC side. If we will.
We will.
You guys cool with that?
We might.
You guys cool with starting on the NFC side?
Show.
Faux show. Let's do it. On the NFC side of this bracket, sorry, I just lost it all pulled up right there. On the NFC side, the first matchup we are going to start with is the Seattle Seahawks, the number 7 seed, at the number 2 seed, the San Francisco 49ers. Coop, I'm going to come to you first. Who do you think is going to win this game?
Are you ready for this? So I actually filled out. You're not ready. Okay. Well, I'll take a second. Get ready. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, I think I'm ready.
Okay. You sure? Yeah. I don't want to rush anybody. Okay. So I actually have my own playoff bracket. I filled it out for a Fantasy Alarm article that, if it's not out already, it will be out soon, where we have all our predictions from our analysts. And, some people went very chalky. There's a lot of chalk in mine, but there are two aspects of it that kind of are a bit shocking. One of them is this play. I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks to outright beat the San Francisco 49ers. I know they have an amazing team in general, but it's a big stage for a rookie quarterback. Not every single person is Tom Brady. Even with, Tom Brady had the great defense, he had all that stuff. All he had to do is be a game manager. It's not even that easy to be a game manager. And in the game of football, whoever wins the turnover battle, whoever wins the field position battle based on that can win these games. And if Brock Purdy, as a rookie quarterback, makes one or two big mistakes, man, it's not that easy to overcome. So I could see Brock Purdy coming out and just making a couple rookie mistakes, which it's not even the end of the world for him. It's being a rookie, but you throw a couple picks, fumble a ball, changes the landscape. I could see the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll, who's won a Super Bowl before, coming in here and winning this game. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to beat the 49ers. I'm starting this off with a bang, boom, Shazam. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Coop, an upset in the very first pick, taking the 7-seeded Seahawks over the 2-seeded 49ers. John Luke, you agreeing with Coop here? Or you think the Brock Purdy-led 49ers are going to take down the Seahawks in the wildcard weekend?
Coop, how come you say Brock Purdy's name like he slept with your wife?
What'd I say? Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy.
Brock
Purdy.
Brock
say like you don't
Purdy.
want to you don't even want to acknowledge it. Brock Purdy is going to break down the playoffs.
Brock Purdy, man. I mean, hey, you know what? He's proven that he can win a couple games, but I mean, talk about a small sample size. You know what I mean? Actually, he's still Brock Purdy. You know what I mean?
I mean, but it's only a sample size that's small.
Ain't his swim trunks, that's for sure. Ain't his swim trunks. I think Brock Purdy will do fine. And here's the thing, Coop, because I do agree with you on just the Brock Purdy part of this, that we don't know for sure that he's going to be able to compete at this level. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be the ones that dismantle this 49ers offense, and I don't think that it really doesn't have as much to do with Brock Purdy as I think you fear here. As that they just lean on Christian McCaffrey, they lean on Ayuk, Debo, and I think they'll be able to get it done against the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm with you, JL. I think the 49ers, that defense is going to be enough to carry them through at least this first round. And they got a shot to make it through the second round in my mind as well. I'm taking the 49ers here to beat the Seahawks. But Coop, I like the upset pick early.
They did beat the Seahawks. The last time they played week 15, they beat the Seahawks 21-13. So they have beat this team. Brock Purdy has beat this team. He threw for 217
so
yards.
You're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. I mean, the odds makers say that that is possible. But I mean, yeah, for me, when I look at all these games, and I say, it's not like we're not talking about Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes here. We're talking about Brock Purdy. So that's where I think if an upset's going to happen, and one of the big upsets, I could easily see it being the 7th round rookie quarterback that, shows that he just so happens to be a 7th round quarterback. He beat Arizona and Las Vegas and Washington. That's all fine, but we'll see what happens here.
We will see what happens. And I think Dustin might be pulling a J here. Came in and said, my NFC team is the Eagles, which didn't tell on itself right there, because that could have been this conversation. But the next comment, Lunchable varieties, gross, super gross. But why?
Oh,
gross.
no.
Okay, I think you're a little behind, Dustin. So when you catch up, this message is for you. I hope you're doing well a little bit later this morning. War Chungus Senior going Purdy. And then also letting us know that throwing the ball will be difficult during the San Francisco-Seattle game. Weather is going to be real rainy out there. And George came in here and said Niners can make it to the Super Bowl, but there's no shot they win it. It'd be just like when the Chiefs beat them all over again. It just takes one or two routine missed throws from Purdy. And Coop, I think you might be agreeing with him there that this team maybe has some pieces to make it, but with Brock Purdy, it's going to be difficult to beat a fully complete team like the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. The Chiefs it's a different beast entirely. But
yeah.
I mean, Purdy, he's been good. 2 touchdowns at least every game. It's just, I just say that a couple mistakes, it's hard to dig out of those holes.
Victor in here saying his name is Brock. He's obviously a Pokemon guy. Give me Brock. That's all the justification I need. Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers moving on for me, but Coop's got the Seahawks moving on. So we're going to come to this next pick. JL, you're up first. The number 3 Vikings versus the number 6 Giants, the 6-seeded Giants. Who are you taking in this one? The 3rd-seeded Vikings or the 6th-seeded Giants?
Isn't there a Pokemon named Gino?
A Pokemon named Gino? Not that I know of.
Unless you named it that.
You could have nicknamed it Gino. JL, are you going with the Vikings or the Giants in this 3 versus 6 matchup?
This could end up being an interesting game. I feel like these two teams are the type of teams that just could fall apart at any moment, and we wouldn't expect it. And so I'm gonna go the Vikings here. Vikings are favorite in this game by 3 points. Vegas giving them 3 points here. I'm gonna take the Vikings.
JL taking the Vikings. I'll take my next pick. And JL, I'm agreeing with you here. Again, I think the Vikings are gonna take down the Giants in round 1 here. Offensively, we know they can get it done. It's gonna come down to if their defense can hold up against these Giants. But I think they'll be playing against the Eagles in round 2 here, most likely. Probably not, depending on this other matchup here, the way the bracket works out. I've got the Vikings moving on. Coop, what about you?
I've got the Vikings because I am now a Vikings bandwagon fan. In fact, I've been since April when I put money on the Vikings. And I do think the Vikings are a more complete team, better team than the Giants. So yeah, give me the Vikings.
We got triple Vikings on that one. I'll go first on this next one. Buccaneers, Cowboys. And this is the toughest one for me. I've gone back and forth so many times. This Cowboys team is a team that if they can get it together, they've got all the pieces to make a run. But I have such a hard time counting out Tom Brady in round 1 against this Dallas Cowboys team, especially a team that's been struggling defensively a little bit down the stretch. I'm going with the Buccaneers here. I think the Buccaneers are going to take this one home, advance to the next round to play the Eagles. They're who's playing the Eagles in the divisional round for me. Yeah. Or no, we'll go to Coop next. Coop, is it going to be the Cowboys or is it going to be the Buccaneers winning this one?
Cowboys for me. I'm as much as a Tom Brady fan as I am, and boy, am I. Tom Brady is it's him, Evans, and Godwin, in my opinion. They're missing a ton of pieces. They had Ali Marpet retire. They had a bunch of guys retire. They've had a ton of injuries. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are getting guys back. They just got Tyron Smith back. They have Zach Martin. They have 2 running backs, so they could even lose one. They have CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. Noah Brown's played well. They brought on T.Y. Hilton. They have a whole slew of tight ends that can get it done. And then their defense is probably the strongest part of the team. Mike Parsons, all these guys, Marcus Lawrence, they're looking good over there. So I think the Cowboys are a very complete team. I have them winning this game.
Coop taking the Cowboys. John Luke, what about you?
I'm with you, Coop. I'm going to take the Cowboys here. Tom Brady doesn't scare me. I'll tell him to his face. He doesn't scare me. Not worried about Tom Brady.
You would never tell him to his face.
Oh, I would tell him straight to his stupid
butt chin,
avocado eating, beautiful face.
He'd probably headbutt you into the shadow realm.
Oh my god, yeah, with his butt chin, knock me into orbit.
He'd just butt chin hammer you into the ground. Your feet
you're not going into the ground. You're going into the butt chin. He's gonna do this, and you're just gonna get slurped up inside of there.
Half your head would be in the butt chin, but then like your legs down to your knees would be hammered into the ground. And you're just stuck.
Like a giant Tom Brady mushroom.
They come out and they're like, "What's going on, Bill?"
That's why I'm always so
Tom.
nice.
Bill. I'm Tom.
Right back to Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, if it was Bill O'Brien, your whole body would have fit in the chin. With Tom Brady, your bottom half is sticking out.
With Bill O'Brien's, you would fall into it like Alice in Wonderland, just like.
Also, we got Pat in here saying, yeah, but the Bucs have Tom Brady. And Warchunga said, I've never met a Patriots fan, just Tom Brady fans.
That's right, dude. That's right. I mean, I was a fan back when they were terrible, bro. I went to the old Sullivan Stadium when the lights didn't even work. I watched, Vincent Brisby and Troy Brown and Drew Bledsoe and the gang. So let's not say that we're only Tom Brady fans. I was there for the heartbreak when Drew Bledsoe lost in the Super Bowl to the Packers. So not just a Tom Brady fan.
Coop,
definitely not insecure about it.
Obviously not. We're out here, dude. We suffered.
Says the man with a giant Tom Brady poster directly behind him as he moves his head to prove that he's not a Tom Brady fan.
Is that Tom Brady telling us how big it is?
I got Steve Grogan. I wasn't alive for Steve Grogan. But yeah, that's Tom Brady showing y'all, and it's big, baby.
It's big.
Guys, we're going to move on to the NFC divisional round now. We've got some different matchups here because of what we picked in the first round. So, JL, you and I have a shared matchup that we're going to predict next. The 49ers and Vikings facing off in the divisional round. The 2-seed Niners against the 3-seed Minnesota Vikings. You got the first pick here. Who do you think is going to win, the 49ers or the Vikings?
The 49ers or the Vikings, if they theoretically play, you're saying?
Based on your previous predictions. We're filling out a bracket.
Yes. I'm gonna go 49ers. 49ers at defense is the difference maker here. Vikings, they're not as a complete team. Really powerful offense, really effective offense, but the defense has not been there later half of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jail. I'm taking the 49ers. So even with Brock Purdy under center, I don't think it's going to matter with how unreal their defense is. And their offense is efficient. They can get it done even without like a superstar slinging the ball back there. So I think this 49ers team, pretty complete. We talked about the Cowboys being a complete team. This is a pretty complete team as well. Not flashy, but it should be fun. And Christian McCaffrey's going to run all over these Vikings. Coop, you did not have that matchup. Dale and I both went with the Niners in that one. But your matchup on that same side, you've got the Vikings playing the Cowboys in this next round, the 3 seed versus the 5 seed. Who do you think is going to come out on top in that one?
Which one did you give me of my
Vikings Cowboys?
So the Vikings Cowboys, even though I am a self-proclaimed and new Vikings super mega fan, purple skull, all that, all the whole deal. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Cowboys would actually win this game. I want the Vikings to win. That's how you know I'm being unbiased. I literally would make money if the Vikings make it to the Super Bowl, thousands of dollars, But the Cowboys, like I said, more complete team, better team. They beat the Vikings earlier this year 40-3. So I'm not saying they're going to win 40-3, but we've already seen these two teams match up. It didn't go very well for the Vikings. So if this matchup happened again, I think the Cowboys probably just take a page out of their own playbook and win this one.
Coop taking the Cowboys now. And Coop, we'll stick with you for your other divisional round matchup here in the NFC, the Seahawks versus the Eagles. Who's taking that one?
Eagles. I mean, the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks are capable of winning one game. I think they're capable of winning a game against when they have a good defensive-minded coach in Pete Carroll and a good running back in Kenneth Walker. They're capable of beating one team, winning one game. That's how football works, any given Sunday, right? That one Sunday has passed, and now I think the Eagles handedly beat the Seahawks.
John Luke, you've got an Eagles matchup next in your divisional round. The Cowboys playing the Eagles, in division matchup here in the fantasy football playoffs. You've got the Cowboys led by the interception leading Dak Prescott versus Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts coming back from injury. Who's taking this one home? Who's heading to the conference championship to face off against the 49ers?
I'm going Eagles. I'm going Eagles and this is assuming Jalen Hurts is leading this Eagles offense because I think they're the better team than the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I don't know, man. There's something deep inside me where I do not trust the Cowboys going into postseason, the playoffs. I just don't trust the Cowboys. They don't feel like they're robust enough of a team. And then there's the whole narrative, of course, of them not performing in playoffs. And I feel like while, of course, statistics, you can't take what has happened before and use that to try and calculate probability of what's going to happen. It does affect people's the players' mental performance, which, those narratives can play into it. And so maybe it's that I'm sensing. I don't know, but I'm just not as confident in the Cowboys.
I mean, that's a great point, Jail. If people are always telling you that you always choke, of course, that's what you're going to be thinking about, right? And some players may rise to the occasion, but some players you get in your head, and it's hard to break out of that mindset. If you're sitting there and you're just scared of choking, it can be difficult to break that. But Jail,
you feel more confident. They feel more confident in their own ability than the Cowboys, and maybe that's what it comes down to.
Feels a little bit more like a cohesive identity for that Eagles, especially offensively. They know what they're doing over there. They figured it out defensively throughout the season as well. And because of that, and the reasons you laid out, I've got the Eagles playing the Buccaneers in this divisional round. But I think this is where it ends for Tom Brady. Maybe his last game in Tampa Bay is going to be the divisional round playing the 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles that I've got advancing in a purely scratch NFC side of the bracket for me. There's not a single upset on my bracket here. And I'm going to go ahead and finish it off in the conference championship. I've got the Eagles making it to the Super Bowl, beating the 49ers, heading to the Super Bowl. Dale, you've also got that Eagles-49ers matchup. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Who's going to the big dance?
Eagles 49ers. I'm gonna go with that is gonna be such a fun game if that happens. I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
The Eagles, Jalen Hurts making it to the Super Bowl for JL. Coop, you do not have Eagles 49ers. You've got Eagles Cowboys in your matchup here. Who do you think's making it to the big dance, the Super Bowl?
And again, gotta shock the world here. I might be one of the only people that are picking the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC. I've said it from the beginning that this team was fairly complete. And again, they're getting guys back at the right time. They've added the right pieces, to have backups like T.Y. Hilton. It's a smart way to play this game, right? Like you look at what the Bills did, adding Cole Beasley and John Brown. Now, if Gabriel Davis goes down, they have John Brown. Now, if Isaiah McKenzie or Khalil Shaker goes down, they have Cole Beasley. They're ready to play this game. The Cowboys have the depth. They have the depth at running back. They have the depth at all the positions. Some of these other teams are too thin to me. You lose one of these guys, you're going to be hurting. We saw that the Cowboys really were struggling without their starting quarterback, and he could get nicked up. So, sorry, the Eagles were struggling without their starting quarterback. So, I have the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. I'm not afraid to say it. I've been a kind of closet fan of what that team's been doing, and I don't see the problem with this team has always been they've been so invested in offensive weapons, Amari Cooper and all this, that the rest of the team wasn't complete. Now they have a complete team capable of beating anyone. And we've seen Dak Prescott have stretches that are amazing. So I don't see why they can't beat a division rival that they beat a couple weeks ago, and that they even with Jalen Hurts, it was a close game. Like these division games, either way, give me the Cowboys.
The best part about this is that you will now firsthand get to experience the disappointment the Cowboys fans feel each and every year in Wildcard Weekend when they lose to the Buccaneers. Like you are here saying they're in the Super Bowl, you're ready to go. This is a team that can make a deep run. Like you're a little bit invested here. So you're going to get a sneak peek at what it feels like.
I've done it before. I've done it with Tony Romo that year that they should have lost to the Lions and were gifted a win and then lost the next game. I've been part of this bandwagon before. I know how it goes. This year feels different. There was no Micah Parsons in those years. There were no, Trayvon Diggs. So yeah, I mean, I'm already in. I felt the sting. I felt the pain. I think this is the year they break on through to the other side.
Break on through to the other side. Well, Coop's got the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Jale and I both have the Eagles from the NFC side. And we're moving on to the AFC. The Chiefs, like I mentioned, have a bye. But that first matchup, we've got the 2-seeded Bills going up against the 7-seeded Dolphins. With Tua potentially not playing, it's looking unlikely that he will play. If Tua was playing, I would probably still pick the Bills, but it would be closer. With Tua potentially not playing, this is the Bills easy peasy for me. What about you, Jale?
You said it was Bills Eagles?
Bills Dolphins. I mean, maybe one day it'll be Bills Eagles. They got some work to do first.
Oh, fast forward there, bro.
Yeah, I want so badly to go with the Dolphins, but I just can't without more information on Tua. I can't go. Gotta go Bills.
Yeah, that's doesn't seem like the best place to call for the upset if Tua's not playing in that game. Coop, you rolling with the Dolphins here? Tua-less Dolphins, or you rolling with the Bills?
I don't even care. I don't even care if Tua plays or not. I think the Bills are just the better team.
How do you train my quarterback with Tua-less?
Even
toothless.
Even if
exactly what I was imagining.
Even if Tua plays, dude, they can't slay the dragon that is the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills for all three of us. Hey, we all agreed. We haven't all agreed very much. I think we all agreed on the Vikings, and that's it so far as what we've all agreed on. But we all got the Bills going through to the next round. John Luke, we're going to start with you on this next matchup. The Bengals versus the Ravens, potentially without Lamar Jackson on the Ravens side. And from what I'm seeing, just people talking about the playoffs, our draft last night, and some other like the odds from the sports books, people aren't really giving the Ravens much of a chance at all in the playoffs. Do you think they can pull this one off, or are the Bengals moving on?
I think it's going to be tough for the Ravens, and it's all going to come down to the Lamar situation. I don't know if they get to a resolution before this season lets out. Now, I think what is happening, just speculating here, is that they're essentially playing a game of chicken, right? Lamar has all the leverage really in this offense, and he can basically say, hey, if you want to have a playoff run this year, give me what I want. And Ravens aren't really in a position to push back on that. They don't really have the leverage to push back on that unless they just take the L and move on from Lamar, which we talked about in the beginning of the show. I think would be a big mistake. I think we all agree here. So I'm going to throw an asterisk on here today. The Bengals, as far as what we know right now, it's got to be the Bengals.
Got to be the Bengals from Jale. Coop, are you agreeing with Jale? Is this going to be the Bengals for you?
Yeah, I got the Bengals in this one. It's again, the problem with the Ravens doesn't necessarily end with the return of Lamar Jackson. It's the lack of elite weapons. Like the Mark Andrews is awesome, but everyone knows you're throwing it to Mark Andrews, right? So they would really need to run all over this team because I don't really see Demarcus Robinson or Devin Duvernay really jumping off the page. Sammy Watkins, like it's kind of ugly there. So yeah, give me the Bengals. I think they have the right weapons to win that matchup.
sometimes I forget just how bare that Ravens wide receiver room is until you pull it up. Like with Rashad Bateman injured, with these players out, it's just empty. It's truly a void of fantasy value.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall of those the like front office meetings and stuff for the Ravens. This would be so fascinating to understand. Like, what are they thinking?
They're literally not even using wide receivers. The only wide receiver playing more than 50% of the snaps is Demarcus Robinson, and these were his last games. 54%, 60%, 63%. And then besides him, no one else is playing more than 50% of the snaps. They're just like, we're not even going to use him. We're going to use fullback Patrick Ricard. We're going to use Josh Oliver and Isaiah Likely and Nick Boyle and whoever. And they're just saying, forget wide receivers. We don't need them. Well, guess what? You do.
Little calves, Patrick Ricard is what you meant to say? Little baby calves?
Little baby calf. But you're going to get beat up, dude.
Calf wannabe Patrick Ricard.
Yeah.
You don't want to wake.
He's going to throw tomato soup at me at the grocery store.
You don't want to wake up that Maine black bear. No. So to put in perspective, Patrick Ricard has played 699 snaps this year. Their fullback. That's more than any wide receiver on the team. And Demarcus Robinson.
Patrick. Get that $700.
Demarcus Robinson was healthy for every single game.
You know what, Joe? Maybe all that playing time upped his calf size a little bit, where he can even be half the size of your glorious calves. All those reps got to do something. But it looks like we're all taking the Bengals here. We got a triple Bengals over the Ravens. I'm agreeing with you guys. I can't
Victor in the chat. He said probably no Gus Bus either. He's under concussion protocol. Yeah. So the run game might be hindered a bit.
Kenyon Drake, J.K. Dobbins, and maybe Lamar Jackson, but probably not. Probably Tyler Huntley or what was the other guy's name? Anthony Brown.
That sounds right.
Is that who started for a game there when Huntley was out as well? Our next matchup, we've got the Jaguars versus the Chargers. Coop, you've got the first pick here. Who's winning that one? The 4-seed Jaguars versus the 5-seed Chargers.
I have in my heart the Jaguars winning, but in my brain and my football, where I keep all my football knowledge stuff, I have the Chargers winning. I think the Chargers are just a better team, and the Chargers could make some noise, deep noise, if Rashawn Slater can come back, the rookie first-round pick tackle. They just activated his window to return. I don't think he's going to return this week, but he's eligible to. But that's kind of a key to them making a long run. But I just think the Chargers right now are the better team. They have the better pass rush. They have the better weapons. You know, say what you will. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, they're great players. But there's no Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Just like, you know, Travis Etienne, we hope that he can become the next Austin Eckler, but we have an Austin Eckler already who has been excellent all year. You know, so I think that here the Chargers going to win this one. Close game. This is one where if somebody picked the Jaguars, I wouldn't say they're stupid, and I wouldn't. It's not my strongest feeling, right? But I do think the Chargers win.
Yeah, you don't have like crazy high confidence in it.
Exactly. Like I'm not like there are some of these matchups where I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? But for this one, I do think it could go either way, but I'm picking the Chargers here.
This is the game I'm most excited for. And Coop, Vegas agrees with you. Chargers are only 2.5-point favorites in this one, so less than a field goal. It's one of two games that are that close. The Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the other one that was hard to set up. And both of them the 4-5 matchup. So I guess seeding did something right here. I'm going to take the Jaguars here. The way they closed the season was really impressive to me, and I think that matters. They looked hot down the stretch. Trevor Lawrence got going, figured it out. The chemistry with his receivers, with his tight end, with Travis Etienne was beautiful. And then the thing that pushes me over the edge is the way that defense has played the last couple weeks of the season. I don't know if you guys realize this, but the Jaguars were a top 6. They were the number 6 DST on the year after week 18. So they made it into a top 6 defense, and that was not on the back of the front half of their season. That was on the back half of their season. So I'll take a team that's peaking at the right time. And I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know they're the 4 seed. They are the slight underdogs here. So it's an upset by that nature, not an upset the other way. John Luke, Coop took the Chargers. I took the Jaguars. Who are you taking?
I'm with you, Simon. I'm going to take the Jaguars here. I think I think that they're, even though they don't have the star power that the Chargers have, I think they're potentially a more complete team than the Chargers. I think Jaguars, and I love what you said. I fully agree with you, Simon, about the momentum is in the Jaguars' favor here going to the end of the season. I think I think we could see a Chargers choke situation, which is definitely going to heat up those Brandon Staley hot seat talks.
Yeah, War Chungus, and you're saying Jaguars are super hot. And following up on your point, saying Trevor is looking like a number 1 pick, and I don't trust Charger coach Staley. He does make some he makes some silly moves sometimes, but it's all analytic. They look silly.
I think he's smart. I think he's smart. I do like him. I like the analytics approach. I think that's the smarter way to do it.
He takes the blame. He takes the blame, and he, through the analytics, he says the analytics say, but he goes for it all the time. He goes for it. Brandon Staley goes for it so much that our favorite kicker ranker, Lindellians on Twitter, she actually moves the kicker down in her rankings because they go for it at midfield, and it reduces the number of 50, 60-yard kicks that they take.
Yeah, you're not taking them anymore.
Exactly.
Okay,
so it's a meaningful number that he goes for. So yeah, I mean, he either looks real good or looks real bad when you do that, right?
Absolutely. Guys, in our divisional round here, we've got one game that we all have the same, the Bengals-Bills game. I'll start picking on this one. It's going to be the Bills for me. This is a team that has looked complete since the beginning of the season. They had some rough patches throughout there for sure, right? Where at the beginning of the year, they looked unbeatable. They showed some flashes, but this is a team with an elite defense, an unbelievable offense, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and they're playing for something, right? We got that emotion narrative in here as well. Like, this Bills team feels like a team that is on a mission to win this Super Bowl, like the most driven team in this playoffs to get it done. And they got the talent to back it up. It's not just a team on a mission that's like the Vikings sitting down there and we're hoping they can pull it together. This is arguably the most talented team in the NFL. And I'm going to take them over the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are repeating that run. John Luke, what are you doing here? Bills or Bengals?
I'm going to go Bills. I said it before. I think they're with Jalen Hurts injury stuff. I think the Bills are probably the most complete team in the NFL. They've returned to that place on the mantle here at the end of the season.
Bills on top. Jail taking them over the Bengals. Coop, what do you think here?
Come on, Bills, man. I've seen it firsthand in this division. They're the best team in the division, and it's not as easy a division as people think. The Dolphins have been good. The Jets are up and coming. The Patriots can always scrap, and the Bills are just head and shoulders above everyone else. So I know that the Bengals are a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, but we're kind of seeing all the flaws in that team this year. There's enough tape now where teams know what to do. And the Bills, like I was saying earlier, prepared the right way with backups at every position. If Singletary goes down, I trust in James Cook. If any of the wide receivers go down besides Stephon Diggs, I trust that they have other options there. So yeah, I have no problem picking the Bills here.
Bills, we got triple Bills going on to the conference championship. And War Chungus over here saying smart don't do much. Got to have the cojones and moxie. Got to have that moxie. I've got moxie, baby. When I hear that, I think of like someone in like a 20s era movie, and it's like there's people in flapper dresses dancing, and there's a business guy, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you, kid. You just got that moxie. That's how I
ain't got enough moxie.
That's the only way I can hear that word said. Well, Coop, we're going to stick with you because you got a matchup that neither JL or I has in this Chiefs-Chargers matchup in the divisional round. Who's coming out on top in that one?
For me, it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. They are an absolute wagon. They are back to doing what they do and doing it well, which is Mahomes scrambling around, finding random people, and Travis Kelce inexplicably being wide open. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like Jason Witten, even at the end of his career, would somehow always be open on third down. Travis Kelce is always open. They've got it figured out over there. So yeah, give me the Chiefs. They're too good.
John Luke, you've got the Chiefs in this matchup as well, but not facing the Chargers, facing the Jaguars. Who do you think comes out on top in the Chiefs-Jaguars game?
I think it's the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, you can't ever count them out. They could win with 3 seconds left. They could win with negative 3 seconds left.
I
don't do it.
I'm doing it.
We've
seen this Chiefs team, even towards the end of the season, show some serious weakness against bad teams. We've seen the Houston Texans take them to overtime. We've seen the Raiders compete with them. This Jaguars team is peaking right now. They just played basically a play-in game. So the equivalent of a playoff game against the Titans. They've got a first-round matchup against the Chargers team. They're going to be hot coming into this game if they beat that first round. The Chiefs are the better team. Don't get me wrong. But I just got a feeling that these Jaguars coming off 2 wins at the end of the season, making the playoffs, a wild card win, the Chiefs a little bit on their back feet, getting that bye. We'll see the Jaguars go into Arrowhead, steal the victory, and make it to the conference championship. That's my upset for these playoffs. I'm taking the Jaguars to beat the Chiefs in the divisional round, face off against the Bills in the conference championship game. So now we got our conference championships games. I got Jaguars Bills. I'll go ahead and hit that one. This is where the run ends. All that stuff I just said about the Jaguars, this Bills team is going to get it done and go to the Super Bowl to face off against the Eagles in my bracket. So I got a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. JL, you've got Bills-Chiefs facing off in your conference championship game. What are you doing here?
Yeah, real chalk predictions I've come up with. I'm going to go with the
boring.
I'm going to go with the Bills. I think the Bills are pissed about
Why don't you take the favorite again?
I don't know which one's the favorite.
The Chiefs are the 1 seed.
The 1 seed? All right.
It's close enough.
I like an underdog.
You think the Bills are getting it done this year?
I think the Bills got it.
Your bracket screams underdog.
Also, Warchunk is in here, said, man, Jags over Chiefs, NFL writers salivating over that. Oh, absolutely. They'd have a field day.
Be careful what you say here, because the moment I said the Seahawks would beat the 49ers, the Better Sports account tweeted out that I was guaranteeing that would happen. Keith from Moose and Keith after the show immediately popped in and said, nope.
Bopped you on the nose.
Coop, are you taking the Bills or the Chiefs in your conference championship for the AFC?
I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think they're too good, man. I think the Bills next year are going to come back in the offseason and either trade or draft another high-end wide receiver to go opposite of Stephon Diggs. I think that team, they should have this offseason taken a chance to go all in that way. Unfortunately, they went all in on the defense in Von Miller, who got hurt, and it's not their fault. But the hired gun they brought in to put them over the top isn't available. And I think they needed more on offense than just really Diggs. I mean, like, it's just Josh Allen trying to make plays. So
we're running low on time here, so I want to make sure we get our Super Bowl picks in there as well. Who do you have as the Super Bowl winner in the Chiefs-Cowboys matchup that you have laid out in front of us?
Get ready to tag me, to blow me up on social media, call me an idiot. I'm going dark horse. I'm going outside the box. I think the Dallas Cowboys have what it takes. It's a one game. Anyone can win. I've watched the Giants come into the playoffs, like, with 8 wins or whatever it was, and beat an undefeated team. I think the Cowboys can win. The Cowboys are my Super Bowl winners this year. Mark it, book it, done.
Cowboys from Coop. JL, what are you doing here? Your matchup is Eagles-Bills. We got the same Super Bowl matchup. Wartung is already saying, don't do it, Coop.
Eagles-Bills. I think the Eagles bring this one home.
Eagles for JL.
Yep.
And I'm rolling with the Bills here in my Bills-Eagles matchup. I said it at the beginning. I think they're a team of destiny this year, and they're going to take home that victory. Coop with the Cowboys, me with the Bills, JL with the Eagles as the Super Bowl champions here in 2023. That is going to be it for us today, guys. We'll probably post these brackets in our Discord, so you can mock them. You can tell us what you think. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're right. But hang out with us there over in our Discord. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time, like we are every morning. And don't forget today at noon to check out the NFL playoff draft that we did here at BSN last night. Myself, Coop, and some of the other hosts took part in that. And you can use it to help prep you for your NFL playoff challenges. Until tomorrow, though, we are out of here. We'll see you guys then. Adios, everyone.